Yamam, good evening. Yakwaba Jasu Jumediene live on OK 101.7 FM. Ewo Shipas Ewo Abeka Junction. Any air broadcasters so across the platform. I would do online, on air, on radio, everywhere. To say digital anti, we're everywhere. Your family vim lady if you the race for 2024 Jubilee House. And I asked them no, the race for Jubilee House 2024. One echo. Say Osha Bibia de aye tight. There's a very tight race for the Jubilee House. Why na lady? Osha polls na embassy siya. This is the time I betimi ache. Why na you likely say obetimi win elections? September, October. You betimi ache say why any win elections. Forget the campaign akoso. Whatever happens, it was say baku winning. It was say you declare obi. And yes, sir, we have to go for a second round. In Timamisanda Highlight Radio, I say any other for media, Migachu FM, any Naspa Radio, Kukunini team Nina, and no more maka highlight, no more maka or mopiki live from OK 101.7 FM. Say the American Osha race and they say, Sada, and so I call launch on also need say Baumia the division about President Mahama the division about in fact NDC NPP Nina the manifesto about NDC crowd they've even gone ahead to even break down the manifesto into different parts. Youth manifesto, near say manifesto. The interesting thing is that Ghana for no floating voters. Until I'm sure be a catch us floating voters be any Ghana or boy. You floating voters or floating voters never manifesto. Ghana for no Canada no manifesto. Or no do NDC or NDC or NPP or NPP. But that is why between NDC and NPP, mistakes or more. If you look at the my promo na me to one now. NDC and NPP, mistakes. And they have to be very, very careful. President Mahama, so far, he's done very well. Campaign or the Ama Ghana, only Baumia, as Omo frontline parties, Omona, as Oma Jinem Ghana for the public, NDC and NPP, and Ometima Babet Nakunyas. Of course, they are the biggest parties into Omono for Dawson. Omumi and candidates, and they've done a fantastic job in terms of campaign, Omo, yes, my issue-based, issue-driven campaign. And just last week, most of the person called Bob Bugani. In fact, I started better 2 weeks ago saying about me. Omoko launch, omo media, omoko media encounter no. The idea and they say, omo they divert attention from NDC manifesto launch no muye no Cape Coast. I'm like, President Mama, onye wako ya na okoka elections so munye boot for boot. And to boot for boot, no be ma boot for boot. I'm not told yet. Opponent be no bear campaign I'm in a favor. Are you kidding? Opponent on your campaign man in favor. NDC campaign in favor MPP. That is how it's supposed to be. I was so born yam. Money tete MPP for one chiromo. Some MPP soon NDC or not to man tete. Now watch it. That is the essence of campaign. It's a competition. I say you move race. Now who say about to as for power or co-racer. Omu nyina representing the same country no omu ngeja na oma enti ba omu akwa time ne media encounter to divert attention from NDC manifesto chira say wonu team no so mother because en kan say munye obi more NPP for camp e was say munye obi kokonseni bi ta party politics anete obi a kokons in fact I'm for politics I'm seeing that hey omu no political market omu ko omu nim till like ndom kam ye nto omu. Because it's very deliberate and intentional, strategic. Or be Donald Trump boy a Kamala Harris style baby. Mammy also Donald Trump and call for style baby, and she's leading the polls. That is how NDC should be behaving. And yes, about me, I'm media encounter and all the time maybe favor NDC. Are you serious? Never. There is no way about me the campaign timing. Campaign no. President Mahama said Baumia time the media encounter to divert attention from more manifesto. Now, should have changed manifesto any time, or they should have done almost system in such a way. Say they will make sure, sir, if a media buying by time all time, and I say even after campaign manifesto, look at the consistency of making noise, making sure. Say, look. Political buying and political marketing. A whole Juma. Kobusa Dr. EFS it's Santimo University of Ghana. And you'll be PhD thesis and go for ye. So get those people so that even after 1 day now about me direct attention on for 2 weeks after that no more bohomanatete. Where the even 2 days after about me NDC manifesto launch Cape Coast. Obiampo can want him. In fact, NDC started so making one mistake. What the fantastic project say 24-hour manifesto about. Basically, the NDC has not been able to market it. Okay, NDC for baby, and I also want to manifesto launch now. Say now I said that. Are you serious? What person floating vote at the number to my NDC Mamu Diagro? This election, it is not the done deal. And when they don't get a catch, I'm serious. It is not a done deal for you. When you steady. There be a 2-3 weeks. There be a 5 NPP for and there be a NDC for so. Money steady. Elections yet done this, sir. You cannot just sleep. Some for so NPP for yes, NPP has messed up in a lot of things. NPP for have not been able to live up to expectation. That's true. Floating voters in Bebre, they are saying it. But you must convert the floating voters, no more to my NPP, no, to come and vote for NDC. That is it. If you don't convert the vote, all the noise, all the campaign in your bogus. You need conversion. And fortunately for NDC, no, last elections, no, to me converted 2.5% of the total vote, no, between 2016 and NDC, no, NDC to me converted 2.5% of those total votes back to NDC. That's a good job. And the one also what was now all communicators, no, who ye de on a party, who ye de just for your stronghold. Stronghold in the 4 million Ghanaians, they will vote for NDC. Who you are day? What the second crowd to a moment, they will vote NDC. No money here can't want no. Into more yes, social media idea now. Make sure that at the back of your head you are targeting floating voters. One target you on my wood agro. If you don't target the floating voters, you are joking. You need the floating NDC from quarter about Ghana. In fact, it is even more critical for NDC than NPP because 2012, 2016. Before the 3 regions, so to me, we need general elections for Ghana with additional 1 million votes. In fact, 2012 elections, elections now, Supreme Court now. Just 2 regions, Ashanti region and Eastern region. This is the one moment the Ashanti region, they are going to be President Mahama go for her. Some picture no release here from last year, last 2 years, yes. And Mahama ne otu for coach. The whole election year, Mahama go for. How many times has Baumia gone to 2 for? Munja joking, no. NDC. Munja very serious. The campaign is not about noise making. The campaign, the floating voters in the BN moment, but you don't even need to campaign to the converted. Oh, massacre that I preaching chair or massacre. Party soldiers, that had NDC supporters. We are the NDC be winning. But NDC's targets must be set. And what's to me about 80% or even 70% of the total vote. Now, Yatiana Probo and Kache say NDC will win data carried, but they cannot make 70%. That's dangerous. Because if you are dealing with an MPP who has a new candidate here of Baumia, NDC try say in their campaign, of course, or maybe man and make us say NDC's main job is to MPP for Yama. And then this is what try in their campaign to make sure some Bema Ghana for no moto abano. And ya him be say Baumia is the same as Nanado. And Cremophone now who said Baumia is the first Muslim. And Cremophone now tilted towards Baumia. No can make a trono. Oh, yeah, this in your own tea. I was some wow banche. Meme Papa be a Baumia me wafa. You want my yamia. But you must listen now. They are Juma. You have 3-4 months. Your homework and convert some floating voters near Bedus and they winning. Obi our carbone. Obi criticize our criticize Obone. You must convert some of phone Cremofona. Omafa Baumia personal no munina kotu because ye nya Cremoni president. Chief Ima munira say omote toko Baumia. What is NDC doing? In fact, NDC phone Cremofona. How many times do you see NDC phone Cremofona in the forefront of the campaign? Voter ranging for how many times do you see Votarians in the forefront of the campaign? Voter ranging MPP for making new rules. Omunim say yeah, they are omu winning, but when you 1% crowd the canwa, omunim say a bonus. Only 1% to crack away bonus. That is the same strategy. Call all roads, correct? Send the NPP for only vote to a voter region, of course. Excuse me. And your vote in idea development. What you say? And your vote in idea development, but whole rows, whole town rows. Oh, town roads, like I said, that they are solid. Nature than bad roads be outside because hold your metal. But almost a year roads, you know, oh, there. And tell me, someone very careful. The way NPP follow slow but sure. And make inroads into voter region. That is how I got some of our chatting the press now. Basic NDC, Ashanti region team bang when Yamin Pen what in it. Ya wanting jam one can bet me use to my Ashanti ahafo. Blow my doggy or munya careful. And 1 year to election, me catch them with some coffee of a coffee watching. Mama and Wamo. Monfa NDC for no Broja Jemfi way. In the last 2 years, that are not a Broja Jemfi. Can this a sideline? Where is Broja Jemfi? Small boys, loyalists of Mahama. Here, some me catch an Apollo, make a biache present Mama. Stop surrounding yourself with sycophants, any bootlickers, any case ass people, any yes men, make a biache present Mama. And young people from a mistake. As some me catch about a year first, you know, me catch Napono. So I didn't call for the atran woman, yes, I want to mean Tiano. The same thing, Mahama Swata and then with boys, maybe I yes, Massa, Mahama boys. You must get in conform what could run better, Mama. Last minute, you Ashanti region. Mummy, and Yeding. Say, I bought in there, any doctor before, and now a Kodobos to never use my young account. Kodobos to the crowd was not even in their campaign team, no. Ashanti region vote, me say, the NPP for Kakaka or Moya Natch, even Shabaumia, what is doing in Northeast. Baomia even 3 months to election, Baomia winning Northeast. How's that? Baomia winning Northeast. How's that? When I make a show, what they only make that one chair for sign baby and Shunka. Who pursue a bet it? You have elections number results and you see the vote in Northeast region. And for a party like NPP, I want to be winning elections with 2-3 regions, no, only dangerous. Because total vote in a good Eastern region, Ashanti region, even greater Accra region, cry here, NPP be lose, no. Total vote or Umenya or greater Accra region, and this would diagro. You will lose the elections. What did diagro so many say? If you must 2 months here, okay, 2-3 months, it's a double up Ashanti region. I was a president, Mama. Oh, man, call for double up. When you have them, the DNA now, and Baomia, go back to the issues. What do you want to do? For example, say me buy Mama. This is what I did for Kumasi. More 24-hour walk, no, you know, no, I'm forget here. You must go now and do the work. Seriously, this year, this elections, NDC lose and NDC na election way NDC lose NDC and they have been shoddy, they have been lazy, they've left their eyes on the ball. Me say, then 1 week, then 2 weeks, then 1 year. It won't change the fact that NDC lose election or more no my Baomia, I don't know what Bemuno, why also opposition candidate. He's been consistent. Advanced incumbents, you know. Why also no not or Yamahama? Baomiana and also Yamahama. In fact, the only thing a issue for Baomia campaign, running mates as an Apodian or man managing here because of the Napo so far. What the net to Professor Jenaro Pokadman so one. But me who said this week, Narapo is trying to come back and correct near me Binia Day. Oh, the videos be a me and that's how it is. But Omu mistake or Niama Wayne should not even have come. I was saying, in any case, one thing that I not see advantage for NDC is a minimum. By now, because what NDC cannot do in Ashanti region, Alan Chairman can do it. Alan Chairman is dangerous. Or free Ashanti region, when you pay on the headquarters work, and NDC channel want you to know about your campaign because seriously, in all objectivity, Baomia's campaign has been one of the most effective campaigns. Me say, oh, they are canceling if you are Hannah. I mean, over 20 years, and then I'm able to believe that I'm neutral or otherwise. It doesn't put food on my table. Me say, I don't even care about anything. You come and say what I'm saying. Are you kidding me? America uko America when ya hwe kra na enye tu no udu America when ya hwe wa America ka tu no kaka de beba omodem ti wo de fa ne sa me tu no me say Bawumia campaign so far he has run a very successful campaign. If you are Kotia Bawumia is the economic issue like first city dollar exchange rate, but you see those ones, you know, food soldiers now work for many everyday voters and form home. They can't be actual. Opa disagree. Food soldiers, you know, that hard party supporters what NDC NPP now. You have about 4 million or more city dollar exchange rate and form home. Oya Ibenia obeto NDC, Oya Kenya obeto NPP, Oya Cremonia obeto according to the religion. What I say? But there are some regions I want the Prani and Yanewa who himself umbeto. Voter region will vote NDC no matter what. Ashanti region will vote NPP no matter what. Eastern region ebe vote NPP. So those ones na make no. Those areas so omobeto they will not look at dollar exchange rate, but determine elections so your mom won't feel in kakra bi no. Nipa be 5% no. Sa akofo no mo businessmen. Edwadifo na wo dwom no mo tonton ade no. Nti na ye careful say to be a vox pop ni o krom ni ama. Nkofo ko ya vox pop media for ye vox pop no. Na nkofo na ho kira ba. Atamels time nkofo na atamels na atamels ukodwoma e man no kwa ye terminology bi. Ukona akoto no aye say say menya atamels score. And the match in the Mewa, NDC still won. Mama, the 3 months, about 3 months in a year campaign. He won 2016, 2012 elections, hands down. He won, hands down. And for men yet too fixated on say there is nobody except a Tikafota Krane won't pen or more to about so when inflation about from city dollar exchange rate in tea. Do not talk about they vote according to the ethnic group of female. Ni crop of Fimo and the religion of Fimo and a Daman Wolf and Rollins, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So NDC must be very careful this week. NDC actually electoral commission here. We are looking for emergency. Why year electoral commission, sir? NDC may say and womoso. Munya careful. This election, no, and your cocoa, it's not a damn the move winning, sir. James are not no matter the amount of insult. They do. 9th December, and now 10th quarter on the 10th. You have to about 3 days, 4 days. You can't do focal. What you can do is bend the whole country down. It's very careful when we attack the electoral commission. This is an institution. For that, course between NDC and NPP na NPP for na Charlotte Sefu on Tiasu any James Safu. It cannot remove the institution electoral commission. Maybe another time crowd will be for me find the issue be no you know. It will not change the fact that electoral commission declare and they declare media for the idea we just call the election. But the electoral commission is the only institution that declares results. And they declare the winner. And based on the electoral commission declaration, you know, and as the chief justice best way in. Now you down now in your campaign. You have to win so overwhelmingly. Say the EC Obiakra try was strong room so maybe be elections in him. And I said, yeah, kind abano Obia the person will not even have any reason to do anything. And the people have already spoken. That is the target of what NDC for far. This should be the vision of NDC. Now, say where means I need some for the yomo for mutrim. Yeah, ballot papers now no be the from now small ballot. Any idea there? You know, NDC NPP, you know. You people all know these tricks. Collection of results, NDC and NPP, you know all this. So it should never be an excuse from NDC, especially NDC. Some of them catch mu collective 5 regions and I'm a computer system. Not this year, be catch there. Some of mu collective 5 regions and I'm a system catch a bubi about boom. You know that this is possible. And here we consider. And to this election, all the homework you must do. Cross all your T's and dot all your I's. We see elections, it is for NDC. What now lose? Well, lose. More from Bawumia, the NDC must take Bawumia's campaign strategy, no. NDC move from Bawumia campaign strategy, no, you know. Now, and chairman thing, Ashanti region, and the home base, no. If you cannot do any damage, Alam can help you to do damage to NPP in Ashanti region. So I am to me 1 million votes. 1 million votes in Ashanti region. That will be a damage to a NPP for in Ashanti region. Because it's before me winning with Ashanti, definitely they will win. But to me, NPP for them, total vote, no so even from 75% NPP for you know, not almost drop about 72. Just when you 3% to 3% no when you what the better 26% in NDC Ekuta from 2020 now. That takes NDC to 29% of total vote. What the other regions so because Upper East near the NDC will win. So Greater Accra region, Central region, and NDC will win Central region. Although we need 2020, but they will win Central region. What is that vote in the cake one? Then over to me across 50+1 because see, yes, if you look at NDC from President Wallace, NDC has been reducing. NDC vote has been reducing. Unless if you do a population adjustment, because President Wallace we need by 60+% of the total vote. NDC do hobium. NDC do hobium. And this is one capella mama what the president dano. And also to make a vim no one called the NDC cross it. So you want to me and find this and cross it a year first 60 crowd, 58 be not no be able to say a overwhelming resounding vote by one share bedding. That's why I mean the prediction is a because second round. Why are bedding? Because with Alan lurking in the corner, a movement for change for any other party said they're net cheddar, we're calling launching on the division. Box site a year walker and boy see baby youth don't turn a dozen. Total vote are gonna put a 10 million a youth. 10 million yeah between 18 years and 34. NPP force homework on say more than free SHS. From 18 to 34 year bracket no 10 million voters. No. Do not free SHS for most of to be a converter. Mala. But obey say any part be a what in 2 times biano. Normally a popularity ratings about from here. Baby, we social democracy in free to say Europe, any American or sign a system here. Also, now we are Britain, almost to Obama conservative for almost too conservative for no. Because what check one no meaning democracy, but we baby say, and short to one and what you are now why he Nanado buy a another year angel cram a concassino who be he. But no crash was an angel. Oh no, Jubilee no one call Santa Tambo. Once I fire, no as I say, just say, 18 about me and the campaign to show opposition. Nanado Mancasa than about me an opposition candidate. Lack of support. Another one also supported by me about Benny. What done about me opposition candidate? Opposition candidate. Tibaumia no channel. And about me, so I will say, oh no, I walk alone. Into an who bed gym and on no room to room. That is the campaign now. I'm starting no jay. Boys, men make out of my boys don't do the sycophants who bootlickers. Yes, man. Me say that phone no more NDC. Penny phone NDC cow mufumano. Where are they? Because sometimes we hear Emrantiano to do our dear Jumano, to do the legwork, to do the communication. But we hear Baguman penny phone to be to be the strategist. And sometimes they check all your critics, all the watch that they look from outside, no matter how much ya no. Think you need penny a good. This penny phone or more NDC mono, are they really there? Mama issue back on no. Penny phone or more yet that's near then baby. You do phone call for what sideline if how? If you want to invite people, they are already down. Oh, me see about me campaign why it is all your position. Or one is already done. It is one double up. And that's why slow by sure, but we are not double up, consistent. And do the NDC campaign on me about liar. In fact, I can confidently tell you, say, sometimes I'm not the target about me, about liar. In fact, they see there. Because all the polls need research and acquire internally and can show you that Baumia is still there, it's still on top. One of the things the NDC is failing to do is the use of a hypoxagenano. Number 2, 24-hour economy no have the possibility to be the flagship. And then NDC for 24 hours no more can be for or no more can baby at the channel. How? One flagship program under which all the other things will arise. To make sure say flagship no bomb man tete. Money at least about 24 hours no so there. Umpo a tour and a pie and before Nankasa saw that 24-hour economy policy was a threat. Before Nankasa saw it from day one. And almost hey, Mama 24 hours they assemble. And to what you understand, I was somewhere consistent. Now, more communicators so you are consistent. You think you saw be 24 hours, say, and a baby club 24 hours. And NPP for so more propaganda. NPP for more propaganda so. Almost on cover propaganda for it. NDC for channel. Of course, me see boot for boot. No, that is the meaning of boot for boot. Into almost on my channel, NDC for some better watch 24 hours. NPP for the share no more can't. And they succeeded in putting sun only a near NDC 24-hour policy and NDC for Sujai. Now, from you see, the more you bash Baomiano, the more you strengthen your base to some better amount. But you must find a way to convert floating voters to you. Me say, party are automatically 2-3 regions to win the election. Or you're dangerous. 2 months here, Mamu Maba Omiagaba. Mamu Maba Omiagaba. Mo fan start BB mama so ko chief mama konwa no pebia konwa every week campaign more than but last minute NDC must find a way to convert the Muslim voters to them. Muslim voters take about you must convert the most in Clemophone amomu nyira mbra ho back something again find a way and go back to two for na nya da call and na no yellow say dum kete ono a political genius that's him no can see Otufuwa, everybody has benefited from Otufuwa's advice. Ohini Bia for that matter. Until your association with Ohini Kurano and my vote. I can't find for Ibia, but Oko regions in indigenous communities, Jamestown, Obia Bunehene, never Kasa Otie. And this year, I have Furina endorsing Baumia. Every week, you have no Inibi endorsing. This week, there was one. Why? Endorsing Baumia. Plain. Nipari endorse Baumia. Let me say, NDC for away. No more endorse Baumia. From Tepamai, Western region, and Flu, endorse Baumia. NDC, for no more endorse more. For no more endorse or more. You must make it profusely visible. Someone's I for no endorsement. For no more time, you deviate to Mamuni Namoe. What dear Shamoto? More, what deviate to know 2016. I am for now deviate. I am aware. Me never journalist. I know. I am for now deviate. More. If I end it in our crowd, they must question themselves. I would deviate my journalists will be and then baby I swear be on. The market smart money at the pen of back or mobile. Baby deviate or move cheaper pencils or move via NDC for. NDC must go back and go back to the drawing board. Because you are slow but sure about we at the end there. You need to get Ashanti region, the Munya 3% and Mutota vote 26 no. Ashanti region, any region, what's some did agro. Bono, Lordina Mahama. This year, more use Lordina Mahama. Lordina Mahama, if you Bono region. If you am Poma, when you're crying, I by now, region, they can only have said and Lord, do, my many very influential, and this is going to me, you so Lordina Mahama. Ya make client sana post agenda no pokwa ma kwa mo na si for makodwom but enough of a dwom no mo si mo money engage napo on picking napo on education issues and napo can about TVET ni ade en ko career ya na post agenda no pokwa ma man punchline oh no so that fire no napo I disagree I dey all your there time these are the issues no ma say mo ma post agenda no pokwa ma dan market campaigner. Is on marketing schools no kwamo mane nko tertiary institutions e wo Ghana ho to na youth no mo 10 million o mo vote in lego mo mane nko ho hwe John Dumelo iko ya akola te de lego yin wa di aboso te de lego yin ko ama lego for this one to say new students ba no na mo except ono na no ko yi kama no ko fe ye ma mi leader ala san say e bloody say John Dumelo I mean I respect John Dumelo I like John Dumelo because said you onyansani ene obi o mu so wa ye mfom so a obetwe sign Obi oye recalcitrant. Why you bone kra no say da. Yes, you kra mo to na me sha on patch order. But at least he has apologized and I respect him for that. I disagree with Nkofono Didi John Dumelo atem no. 2 wrongs don't make a right. You're a young man. Into politics when you musa or no one political science school bia. Oh no one full soldier. And one is so actor and obey a first a politician. Into your politics ni mu no nim. into a deal from so no assign the chin of the patch. We must allow John Dumelo. Oh, yeah, is John Dumelo, and me number mammy, a friend, mammy a boy, and your mammy a boy said, the UTV entertainment in Yadi. And John Dumelo, he's not immature. A mature person is the one who's why mistake no apologizing. John Dumelo is never immature. He are mature, the proper, in fact, the level of maturity at John Dumelo is shown. No, irrespective of small errors here and there. And like I'm saying, on you be a trained politician. But I need a phone. When you are mature, and why are no about apologize? How many politicians you want more Ghana? Why are Bonnie Pano about apologizing? What apologize? But at least he's seen the wisdom and the sense. Say, Lydia Alasan, as I'm not kind of one can you? Because what you are then a one patch out. Obi on was so pedestrian, one who said, no, my bonnie, no, the patch out. The fact of the matter is that your client or patch out, simplicity, let it go. Where are politics? Where are bogus politics? You are here who say a mistake. I don't want the patch out. No, issue ni bi no oba nko aye politics ya ebe kwa kokanya wokum nikru bema na ni yiri wu ya nko be kwa kokaze wokunu no ode ye campaign bema. But that's what I'm saying. Say the maturity of Dumelo is that ono aka asem na no asem we de me so mo yire o kire bibi betimi ato me yire obi so kogina no koka we kire me yire anya me de and I be at an impedifo na won ho na tu no fo what apology letter, that should be it. Why are there na bogoka nkroma se dia kan how many days they do answer na po be pacho but don't Dumelo ade tie na no be pacho what pacho, let it go munjano. Let it go. Let's focus on issue. No, Gatani issue kania and your bottom near. These are the issues. These are until I don't make it. NDC ni ba koto every week be about me. I shall promise for na kanya den. The issue are the issue base. If you depend on issue are there no yen. More for the politics now money na mo ye on channel. It is only strengthening NDC NPP full sojarism base. And floating voters back. Now, if you want to Abama and this woman, we need that. And if you want to Abama and people, we need that. They be a floating voter and a 2 Abama woman. Okay, then we shall answer 22 of NPP and win it. But 2016, no, when you have 1 million, probably 1 million account. This is the kind of win we are expecting NDC to give us. Send this person win here. The NPP 4 years in 2016, even also bully. After our president, no experience. Or your candidate to attend a no experience. Into a year, money bidder, a banana marketability of being Mama or your marketable. What your human say? What dear politics are check? He knows what he's talking about. And you know what the neighbor, not the second coming of Mahama, where you 1 million now. Nana do better already be ahead. Now this is your show dread. Because look at Nanado, 2015, no pulling 1 million extra vote to Kahono. Nanado had come in 2008, Ghana for rejected Yantuamano. He came back in 2012. He rejected Yantuamano. In 2016, or the 2 million Bomu plus 2016, why are the 1 million extra vote? And take this. That is why when people attack Baumia, I think that sometimes they should be fair to Baumia. Because in terms of running mate, a 1 year campaign, how black candidates plan about Baumia can because President dynamics see a different. President Mahama as even running mate, no, except Yamami and Akro rolling there a few people and not much than they know. But the general population of Ghana, President Mahama from the 90s rolling so all the way to the 2000s, President Mahama was, if he was not the most loved, after Rollins, if Rollins, if you want my in NDC, he was the most loved politician. He had done papa. The personality, the shooting the by the image, the warfare, on Kasa, on Nipum. What time President Mahama said the ocean is a show about the Hagel or planning Rebecca Oyam. Baumia didn't come with that kind of advantage. Baumia needs to experience that. Mahama won't be. He didn't have that political history, from assemblyman all the way to build a love and build a following. Baumia in 2008, the NPP for major NPP for Nijano. Only Jano. Also, ne papa NDC. Until almost the papa CPP. Muni Baumia. And some of Kayan and another not at your penalty. Baumia, he came from a deficit. That is what I'm saying. You must give him his flowers. I do not about me. Mahama was starting from the 90s under Rollins as deputy minister. And in the fan base of building and popularity to 2000, you could not deny Mahama the fans. Now what fair?
the experience, the affability, media from the we were all disciples of President Mahama. Me had done me from Parliament. Mahama bet me a pigeon home or who the document here do a flow if you had program. Meanwhile, Mahama told me not sending me questions if you fire. Many John Boyd interview, I do my tema. Many John Boyd, I do my tema. Mahama now to win money inside filler. If you are John Boyd, if you are, I will say, no me fire John Boyd says, hey, no information. No me because we had all built familiarity and build a relationship with Mahama. Da. And me papa who ya Mahama. Or say I can only do of say, Nefia pa, I know papa who now can't me. That is how we were all close to President Mahama. Many friend, Mr. President, say, I know. I am a friend, Mr. President, from Mahama. That is how close we were all, we were with him. But first video, before no, in fact, more than a fan. From President Kufonu, I didn't know me now, Penasem. And another na adene buga wa unim na nado all die be there subano no all die na Ghana fa na yakana wow yes you can all die be there no afede papa no ba na wada ni nkruma me no wow tete etro kan so ati ase na President Kufuor do here de fa no enti ba mi aba no NPP for no mo wana fa Penasem. He had to prove himself say he belonged to the table. Fire yano yeah juma santi ba omi aba na after 2008 only experience at am kwa ko buso omo be good morning ko omo njiso ko omo dwa so wo ni political experience bia o papa kra NPP di NDC ni o be ye dem ha ye de buzi adam kwadomo and if you know inside NPP some factions the division e wom me ba ha che suba na NPP pa me na me ye we o da o papa he e didi echi o papa ntina ala nge say maintain me time we drew me so amabeje no nim so mu change formula no won achi ba me na sa formula no njo ma no dog chant ba me have to work tin am so mpe ba me asema you have to give him his flowers for that 2012 na ba me adwuma no sorry ye and on who say opposition or so no hujim from election petition na busa how say dey na ba me na kodina adakam no fire because adakam you no be kodina mo but it is up to you to become the star of the moment. And that is what Baumia and staff number one. No, now he duplicate and I one and I then the monarch. I know you which anama no be when him go photo now the send and solid into research and what kata when him say a political platforms. Yanya swag no be on say formal program. What you say? Aha. Baumia yana could duplicate and you and I were not there. But you come Baumia terminology. You and I were not there. And at the end there. Of course, necessarily baby we were caught today, but he popularized himself from Supreme Court election petition. For 2016 elections, Baumia forum economic and I want to make actually NDC send. Come with the advantage of Sunday nano pokwadman. More money one forum on education. Hey, NDC mudiago. Mr. Lashi we mobile number lose or boy that promo hano. Nyama number matching kofa electoral commission. Yeah, babomo. Yeah, that first. We are not promoting violence, but I'm practicing they are not the fire. Baumia forum or yeah lectures, press conference, now with the PowerPoint and that whiteboard, me actually anything to me you super side nano pocket my tweeting undermine NPP policy. And if you have people, you have Dr. Before, you have the knowledge about no just say anything musibu luzu election we own. Ya babo moha. Yan kase babo na want to mean that I ho. Me say the enemy of your enemy becomes your friend. I'm only happy to fall out. Almost say no. The slogan money the another count 2012 no die. He has nothing to lose. The NDC to NDC. When I can some come and I'm form alliance in the secrets. When you 3% be a man, the good idea so near second round I will sort you out. Okay, I will bet you ama and this other. Want to be my professor, they no pokwa any one forum against Baumia. One forum against Napo because in our education sector. And come on, there be na mama Baumia. Into Baumia 2060 or marketing with that forum no. And that is how he gained his name as economic genius. And to say no, what bonus so boy say Baumia to me manage economy now, you be absolutely right. But to me manage economy no. Any idea be drew hano. What me manage economy no any idea bedru ha no. But it doesn't change the fact that nipa na say a campaign. Now, all one say who say economy name come no. On say na me accept go post. On say that economy bebre asa. And they are strategic. And then you see I try say they will use that against him. It's not really working. Because NDC is not being consistent over there. It's not working. Because nipa na to about no do man, or to about with religion, or to about with ethnicity, or to about tribe. To about with kaka obenye the NDC don't get akate and amuji scan. I thought they said don't get a little below the belt politics because look, she can't the NDC near people when you have a check. And say don't get up on taffin and better so NDC chase kada. Now Fonka games score so. Fonka games. Nana Krodu versus Atamo. This Ghana must go near check. And the party for it, Munamu Cheska. In fact, campaign where of course when this is Cheska, NPP forced to Cheska. Every day, be about Akonya son or chat more. Because one hour Akonyum to a moment, yes, come on. And to see or being passing, and yes, the other Panko and discussion and passing. Munina discussion won't pass it. Are you kidding me? Kolan number that album. I am politics. Munina discussion pass it. Munina discussion won't pass it. And this is no equalization, it's just the bloody truth. It is just the bloody truth. Munina Mujiska campaign because they are donors who come from across. So we are looking at who is going to the Jubilee House. Because Jubilee Jubilee, no, somebody will go to Jubilee House. And the question is whether I bear Baomi and I say bear Mahama. And I bear Chad and I say bear Kofi Kwantin. And I bear Alan Chemantin. Alliance, any idea about Buamo? Miss Woods will be on Okuta 3% crack. I was on any start to call alliance. When alliance, I was so on the So the question for this evening, who wins the presidency? Raise my tight. Raise me. I am more tight. First, no NDC LED. Say NDC is not leading. Matter, they are not tight. NDC is not leading again. Me say, till that kingdom come. Now, 100 years. It won't change the fact NDC is no longer leading the race. 3 months where it's a danger zone injury time. I say I'm a football there at that time. I can't want one yet no one score within this time. I will deploy all your missiles. This is the time you deploy all hands on deck. Me say NDC focus on 2 ranges. Accra, the more we need that. Ignore Accra. Monye Kakra Amudibe increasing the vote to Accra. Because the more in 70% and more, it will greater Accra region. NDC is heading for danger zone. NDC should not. You see, NDC should even be more aggressive this election. NDC should be more aggressive in this election. Because you are coming from opposition. And you also want to convert floating voters. Because NPP floating voters, which is looking more plausible. And for exchange rate, don't want another because then the other backup strategy NDC can take is another men can have one team baby but party phone pay the phone no money. Party executives constituency in the world phone are aware of this strategy. Say do every polling station. That's why after time now no electoral commission will say that elections are won at the polling station. 24/7 elections are won at the polling stations. At the polling station, polling station, polling station. Nipa our polling station 1. Registered voters are 1,002. Party for no everything I can say. What's a miss? By every 4 o'clock. Many part to 1,000. 200 no, you bet me up to 150 a good amount for it happens. Mistake. Africa elections, free and fair come. America election, Donald Trump say free and fair. Because America also vote, I'm to me the vote no. Send mail me. I'm postima. Me one in Kokana COVID in by time near Omakoto. And for you for mail to tomorrow. It's even America. Free and fair. See, read my lips. Even in America, free and fair elections anymore. It is record. They say that America is still jailing people at the state level for election law practices in America. Even in America, in Kosibro Nikroma America, Donald Trump Trump America, you're jailing for voting for people. Nanya Ghana, I say Ghana free and fair elections anymore. Yenya Kakra ni afan 14. And the elections are won at the polling station. Tell your foot soldier. Now best friend, I'll be saying that I'll be the me show what can be the committee say matter be careful. Police station no some say police station kokoro LA1 registered voters are 1,002 by about 4 o'clock na nipa to about 1,000 na ka 200 na just 200 no you want that for wom omo yare wom enkofo bi won meto aba voter party aka omo say there's a way a party for me to be yakanana you better maybe ID card photocopy na dey ID card ni nyina database no electoral commission database party for nyina will copy you. They are entitled to it so they know all the registered voters area into omo copy voter ID card ni bia ni dey am asumeti ni obento na maba betogum into be 200 na catch no total registered voters ntie me ka suma sam na che this I'm saying it very carefully because as somebody who has monitored and followed reported on political elections in Ghana for over 20 years 20 bloody years I know what I'm talking about 200 na aka no ye beto oguma mo nyina at least on the trauma 150 na aka 50 because 50 is reasonable so omo do ma meto aba nti e kan ye word as for all in we mu emu half ye word as papa we yare ne ade na ye da chim ya trauma nipa 150 ye beto 150 ni nyina ma say NDC and NPP na ya trauma mo na wona wo hye ho no elections are won at the polling station when now neja John money now neja John sense no go to the ground. These are all ways and means. A cost you in polling stations. And you are trying to abo. Na ya to abane ye no so ya kenkan abada ho na yo mofo ne bemu no. Admit ne safa ni tim no de aka you know abato no who say the opponent. Ye gada ho say abato no ye kenkan a ye gada papers ballot papers more. Ye hwana we dia do so a na ye di yo ma start ikam nti tom print ni ye mienu as a rejected ballot. Tom print ni a rejected ballot. These are all strategies at party NDC and NPP. You must start teaching your people. Teaching your people. Now the chanka say mouse sikaka and I jena Ghana say munyina mu jiska be. All of you. Munyina mu jiska be enti.
Aya bo apaye. Wo mu jira ba bia ka say Russia Ukraine. I don't that day or how abraya. Wo mu bo asika nu gugu wo mu pass. Sika asasa womo dia butu juma no egu womo passe emo na mabo amagogu womo passe efise odi project ya unto mano emo edru voting day no ga chichama mo dia atwanse na mo beto etu womo dia gogu womo passe kaida ya beto aba wo ya ba chichama.
Where they campaign talk say obi enim say campaign talk of course obi enim say ahochire ba eba obi America be see the COVID don't cry they are suffering from COVID UK be see they are suffering from COVID issue in fact America Canada for the West Canada for a likely say president not yakonya to do meto abetia no COVID ene ma omo koma immigrant fo nyina ba ye Ghana for boys any ade school fo nyina ma omo nyina kogu am ayi say rent kro mu ntumi ntua wo ayi e friend Canada it's COVID need political talk. But you see, this is the work of the opposition party. Now, Jumani so about my own Yamasho. It's all you see, kudos. He's doing his work. Because I know about can be NPP for so I COVID name I John. And Koya John, so no man can be my NPP for so I am passing. Oh, Russia, Ukraine war, and I COVID now, I'm watching. Daddy, hell no, that's not his job. No about that. So no American payment NPP. Until the Juma, you know, or so the other kind unpopular. That is why he's there as chairman of NDC. His job, many NDC crowd will recruit somebody like to come and speak for us. Fire NPP for NPP for vote. You know, so the more they come with expose, the more they come and fire NPP players, the more no NPP for post. No, that is the work of opposition. Any opposition in the can be a NPP for. Their job is to fire you, still in the BRB, start BRB. It is so we are on the race to Jubilee House. And they can want them who is leading in the Jubilee House. One ever. Now this week he also an opposed Ghana for Ghana, so you had it. So maybe you fire na post this week or buy no and I be on come from us in BRB. Obeka TV at yasem. Oh now Napona has a television no mobo. No, but at least he's bouncing back. But he say time now can and can you look at the time there? What bad time? What bad they can? What bad time? Time you after 2-3 months. This is no time for you to recover. Anything about me, Napo errors, no, he shouldn't even have made them. And this is the time they must double up into the world. TV at some now, but TV at also their challenge campaign issues. It's moment about me and Naponja TV at Asemka. TV is not a campaign issue. It is not an issue that is determinant. That can determine any election. And the best way will be TV at those things here. This is real campaign issues. Mahama will some critical issues. Economy, no, inflation, education. Mahama show them free fair here. These are the issues. Napo as a former education minister. These are the issues MPP for you must let Napo speak to. TV at them. TV in Shadanya education issues there by Shadanya EBS. Speak to issues to me tell elections.
So because Italy, and not because Spain, not about the Italian shoe, about the Italian belt, leather belt, Papa. It's not that same. Maybe can, maybe would be never not buying it running to. So what can maybe a professional, the whole God how you doing professional. When and they did put up to them. When and they had that by the bois to them before.
And again, like I'm saying, TVET and your campaign issue into MPP for more managing upon mobile and ammonia on Amoyao. Okay, TVET to and so be arguing. Yet, of course, it be a program, no quite anything or can sana, but more some managing so that all rounds he will speak to issues influencing conformity. Issues and conform issue against government, corruption. Corruption, NDC name, floating voters, other people, they are all worried. Say, want to mean fighting corruption. That is the critical voting issues. You must respond to a corruption issue. Say, you must be able to explain to people. Corruption, that's a number. 91 year and no number can TV near the other must and no influence vote to be anti study. Influence vote to be. So still the question remains who goes to the Jubilee. And I am person a friend saying MPP or a friends of Baumian and I know about other side. Am I good? Friends of Baumian or Kahun. And that's what I was saying. Mr. Abe will show you twice. NDC spokesperson on job creation. On last week, once I'm now if you had an NDC, I'm one last days are dangerous. Into one man, you must send somebody to stand in for you. NDC Munkacha Mr. Abe. Then he said, oh, this week obey. This week is one back. So that I think that will be it. Next time, no, young friend, and yes, I to be like I said that, but he has agreed to come today. Now went to Myanmar. So I'm saying, any Abema monarch, Dakon, so Alan and Crawford be our movement for change. Omona, just a much a bomb and not to take one. Omo himself. Almost something we need here. But if you look at the numbers NDC and NPP are pulling, I can confidently tell you that 4 million, 5 million, Charlie, and yeah, easy. So I say Alan Betty may pull it. But what Alan, I think in my analysis, trying to do is push the election to a second round. Then he will be the deciding factor. So in any way, by extension, he will still be the deciding person. He will still be the kingmaker in the election. What you say? That's what it is. But Manara, Mama, Kwabani, good evening.
Sister Fiata Ringa.
Meton Kapa.
Oh, Bichiapa, Sister Fiata. Labor Day, you know, America.
One baby, yeah. And one. Hey, Mama, also good evening, Akwaba. What do my microphone into so microphone, Mammy? Good evening, Akwaba. Great. I would know what you barriers and someone can say. Maybe if I look at the analysis, numbers now, all this new MPP for the pooling. I don't see Alan pulling those numbers, but say, my analysis is also push at the end of second round. And then he will determine who will go to the Jubilee House. So technically, second round, he will still be the kingmaker. What do you say?
I think that is the general perception and conformity. If people correctly say Alan or Babe say votes, I mean, that is the general perception and conformity. Oh, Alan,
what's the numbers? What's your numbers now? Look at the numbers. Why post be internally?
With the numbers now, like I did mention the last time, technically, I mean, on the face we need it is only right for anybody to say, we cannot compare our numbers with the NPP and the NDC because almost two established political parties are over the period. No, almost supporters are almost align emotions and everything to the parties. In said what kind in your initial submissions, no, when you be or because I want the board beto crying up painting NPP colors or beto man. So from the NDC side, will be the same thing. But technically, on the EC's record now, will be an zero nation. And it's not as if say there be a say some of the NPP communicators are they speak with lots of confidence as if as a almost supporters no beto aba no mo gudema ya campaign or mazi to e beto aba e be almost mo got no. It sounds because election we on it has a lot of dynamics. A man here quite different from the previous ones now you're having. Or share the fact that Dr. Baumia, His Excellency, is attempting to become the first Muslim ever president, something we've never witnessed. A very, very ambitious attempt now. NPP for person or more trying. They want to rewrite the script or change the narrative. Say, Omonye Akan for party now. And again, Alan Chematin is also coming from a point where Ochene who free NPP, just like Macron did in France, or no economic advisor to Francois Hollande or Ochene Hoba as an independent candidate. And Oshe Alan Clouds now or commander now, Yehu independent candidates or Maba over the period. But I think arguably Alan Chematin or undoubtedly.
I know they true. Nimu independent candidates or Maba.
And also say another factor, and more so importantly, Alan is hailing from the stronghold of the party he broke away from. And no man oppose a threat to the government and also the party in power. And we also having for the first time a candidate who has been a vice president and a president before coming back to serve the next 4 years at constitution and election we were a lot of dynamics and man here quite different. And so Obika said NPP near NDC commanded numbers now on the face value the Nipano is not far from right. But elections, Meka say NPP has almost card bearing members are more to about more and Kasa true NPP for almost do even 1 million. But the infant is only 1 million.
True, but Jagana no ya card in every yes. No party for be a contractors.
So the rest or the bulk majority no me sympathizer. Sympathizer there. Won't mean share and trust and allegiance so much. On the day of voting, Krano, now dream to Mrs. Me. Sometime ago, I'm a polling station secretary with my NPP. And here I am representing a lunch match and now I'm a sympathizer. So the dynamics, even though on the face value, we have pundits and post a favor NPP and DC, but what I envisage seeing this election is Alan will push it to the runoff and say could do runoff. Now, almost some domestic best sponsor and now if we push a little better, the man can become what we want him to become. For now, no, be a skeptical kakra. Obi was kakra or a skeptical, I mean, from Sika Alan Echina or Lusama Bokao. But if by any means possible, Alan Timmy maneuver the way through no break it to the runoff. Runoff there, it can be anybody's game, especially when we have a history where Akufo-Addo was leading in the first round, 2008, only for Professor Mills to overtake him. Nobody even thought NDC because her time campaign and NPP 4 years. That was, I mean, the big kind of campaign. Mini and I are very witness. I mean, all grade A artists were on stage performing.
Exactly.
And we were mocking Professor Mills with his ill health, and everything was not in favor of Professor Mills. But before we could say Jack, Professor Mills had won sympathy votes from people. And Alan can also do same. A runoff. People would then look at Alan and say, Papa Modine Niache. Upon the Modi if Namiad Motimia Babira a second round, why don't we consider him? That point, a said the monopoly at duopoly, I enjoy I feel I do not want to get let's consider Alan and see. So that's how I see things.
So the question is whether Obetimi breaking my the election runoff and now right now that is his first homework. His first pedal. And some of the Obiako.
Sefia, only the money possible.
Because see, I think that Alan is focusing on Ashanti region. I don't know about the other regions, but so far, me home Ashanti and then to some extent Volta Kakra. But and Volta Kakra also because of some of the credit my hopes in normally they've also done a lot of work in Volta region. But with the question, one bet me because one always argument NPP for card bearing members. I want to me trust you on my loyalty. Now you that's the case. Why would need card bearing members way? Why would they need card bearing?
Alan's case they different. Kaka just say Alan now it's like Omo mudi na chine do na fa kese for NPP nim. Omo mo believe say they can also relate their story with that of Alan Chematin. So it's a chinsayam kind of you so me on a daily basis. Send me screenshot me TikTok screenshots actually. People come in my inbox. Obi or send me a polling station whatever. Boss Alan they don't want pull but maybe email him say I have friends even in some countries I hold the executive positions they'll vote for Alan but and I want to if you mark this on the wall if Alan's name appear on the ballot I feel I'll be former MPs via and I even some existing party members they will now come openly. Now who you when him as Alan yeah born a mafia no my paper no so what risk your life and again I tell you and again share young fan say Alan Chematin wins 10 votes at each polling station. Multiply it by the 40,653 polling stations now. National numbers no opinion. It is enough to pull the election to run off.
Yeah, but the question is, will he be able to make 10 votes at least? He will be able to make
because some constituencies say there will be constituency will win 100 plus. And I a certain group, the academia, the clergy, and certain people almost share issues. Most importantly, there are some journalists they've talked about Alan Chematin's GTP, and they've juxtaposed it with that of the other two, and Obia most especially over there Samson Ayini Kafa GTP no one, and so I shall be so Obia very critical observant. I say Alan launching the GTP no NPP launch on the NDC launch on the when we say attacks Alan GTP no so as compared to how people were trying to punch holes in the NPP's manifesto. Alan's GTP
they don't see him as a threat,
yeah, they don't see him as a threat, and that is advantage to us.
So they went. Say I kind of say if Alan has prepared the document. I mean, nobody has questioned the worth of Alan. Say, what's here? You man as a trade policy or UN. We know say until you cannot even question Alan on that level. That's why nobody's wasting their time because you lose.
But what you say, Alan Chematin, and also remember the advantage. People are not as aware. People are despising him, saying, "Oh, independent candidate," so he cannot be figured out. Now the focus is on John Mahama. I mean, I listen to radio discussions every day. Sometimes, like I say, Alan nature that can race in home, but people should not write these two off. Hey, it can even happen. Say, you better watch that Gumbi was my join Alan, and then the youth say, "Okay, election Rebecca bear 2 weeks. Everything is possible. Yeah. Things can change, and so." It is possible if you ask me, it is very possible.
What has the campaign been so far? Because now make us more yet to say opposition. But listen to the Uniabamona kind and say and they are normal so incumbency. What is the status of my campaign is here?
Sister, if you wait the answer about questions, no, Pacho, Vamintia, Adophobia, friends of Bamia USA, and a wow, micro and mobile perm. So last week, last week, Beccacho say, you see him be on now. Sister, if you say,
I don't know Tokana.
Tokaka Krebiako Bomna, a best say, or Mama as Ajo Bremra, Ama Sebi, Ubikra from you know,
oh wow,
Langard, Bifia Bontain, a Babet disrupted. Process, and yes, a chromo for no missing now or more dispute among themselves. So outsiders be about, I mean, trying to interfere in the whole process.
Usually that's what happens. Outsiders,
yeah, and it's crazy. It's just unimaginable. Tension about on market day, Tuesday, BD market day. They have to cut out the economic activities, and the police have to deploy. It's just too much. Intimacy and more for say, and more for Mama Jubremra. Now, about this for no mess, I'm on from with you. Na young for more police for no money then. Indeed, and my mind the summer, Mama Asum Dimra, na in Ghana.
It's the friends about me and I'm most sponsor campaign over Ghana and I'm on this Sicano, a bagana bebo.
So you say, your baby, now you believe in the vision of Baumia, of course. And you just know you also corner there's no way, I mean, Obibia said, Watana Bridge, Watana, and what you quite a crowd, wouldn't him the AC, we are saying, I wouldn't send a Yasekon. You will disagree with Baumia or the saying, near man or person or the Bagana. In defense of Baumia, dear, I mean, we are all over the place and we believe that he's on the right, I mean, track for in terms of pushing our country to the next level. Now, maybe a question also. This is a real question. Alan Chairman, factor, I am make say it's one of a kind in your politics, especially in the Fourth Republic, because of ni pursue the baby of Fibano, ne diawaye, ne engagement in the political space. So on the amateur, unlike Papa Kwesindum, who was also actively engaged in the political space, Alan Chamante is a bit different in a certain sense, but in a certain sense, and so Papa Kwesindum also was different because this was a man that opened jobs, that had banks, that was all over the country. I mean, with all these other things that he did, and on the basis of that, no friend who Jumura, hoping that and never Magana phone them who said Sabio is a different political animal, he's a different political person, and he went independent, and yet what was the outcome? So attribute, Alan Chamantia. You can say Alan Chamanti is a colossus. Yes, in the NPP, it's coming from the NPP stronghold. It is our basis in the meeting. From the past record, it doesn't look like independent Ghana for are prepared for independent candidates. But Senator now can be push election to run off. It means that he himself will not be partaking in the process. Because push
run off, he will partake. Then he will decide. Why not back joining? And the other joining they will win.
Well, one of our you think that Alan in his own philosophy, he believe the one who we are seeing, he believed that the NDC will be able to carry on his vision.
But in collaboration, he can join NDC as and technically see more NDC and NPP. Once I am not kind of way a social democrat now, way a friend saying capitalist, but technically, if you look at the policy. In terms of policy of both parties now, nobody is really NPP focus on more property owning, but they are more of even socialists. So all the from free SHS to Alan Chamanti can comfortably join NDC. Comfortably.
Yes, that, like you said, no, I mean it's possible. It's 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 his decision to make. But what I'm saying is, I don't see him. I mean, pushing the election to that angle. He will make some inroads, Obenya some good, but to the extent that he will push it to second round, be so influential in deciding who wins the election. I don't see that happening. But
Alan, together with all the other candidates, Cheddar, Kofi Kranting, Odikenum, any other, don't you think that it can be enough to shift the elections to second round?
I think, sir, independent candidate will make some strides. They will get some votes. Yes, that possibility is more likely. It's 80% likely. If you put the combined effect of into the schema, yes, it's more likely that, minimum 80% chance of being able to do that. And I saw Chida, the manifesto launch, and for an independent candidate to launch a manifesto the way he did it, I think, sir, this election, so what time will be crowned or the right thing? I saw one of us. You get what I'm trying to say? It's not easy to pull campaign resources together. Don't know about that aspect. Say, me call quantum my pooling resources, me be campaign, be launching manifesto, my friend media, my this big launch. I think, sir, I have to, tell him, sir, that was a good job done. At least he's raising the standard for anybody coming into this game to realize, sir, this is a serious business. And yeah, grown you call mine. Ne nkofon kwa ne omampanyina sabi obia security esha on sign away won so but enye a joke. It's a serious business. Into me feel say mebo na baso, but I can assure him say niema na okeka aka no o ma lay foundation onya botana NPP yen lay foundation na ya hwe because foundation asa no no aba if you nkroma breso nyina ya to sa niema na chine and I feel say we can we can swerve our aspect, but we can't swerve the aspect if we don't lay the systems and the foundation.
Yeah, but are you not even defeating your own argument? Because what's the lay foundation when you're 8 years in office? They want to me lay foundation and you teach and train. Number lay foundation for another 8 years and 4 years and so on.
So, and I also be a question. And say we want to consolidate the gains because when Kufuor started that process, 2008, we all saw how that process was truncated, and NDC took us back. And until at this time, the young youth, NPP for any other say no. We must not allow this to slip again, because if it slips again, Sister Fia, we will go back 8 years, like what the NDC did to us. And this time, we don't want the NDC to take us back. We want to make sure, say, foundation now, starting the systems, need the key pillars, say national ID, need broaden a government of systems, Yan Shas near move for Bano, the Equatia. Sister Fia, best year, Jumana Coprim, baby, President Kofoye, now if you by your money, that is the risk we don't want to entertain in this particular, and that is why we must be all out, and we believe that Baumia is the right person. He's been there, he's seen it from Kofo time, even also Sabi Wabo Akufo do Echidom. He knows the inner Oba, and you think about again say he knows straight what to do, and he's going straight to work, and that is why we need to get him to continue and to bring that benefit to all of us.
Not just by extension, all parties the check mobile, that's what you are saying, right?
Yeah. You need some time to say.
Okay. Because if I read the document now, well, I think he's taking a cue from one village, one dam now, more cat and where now, more to be any. So in the first he is saying, say, one mineral plant for each region, then one agro processing plant for each region. Into one mineral plant, one agro plant, into 2 plants for each region. Very ambitious. But that's what he's saying. And also more research, I say, Ghana, gold, iron ore, oil, gas, bauxite, lithium, diamond, Ghana pass CSSN, and who's the 2.5 trillion on all chat and on this is research. And that water region resources a good $192 billion. Ashanti region $240 billion. Western region $412.9 billion. Upper East region $53.53 billion. This is what Omo research has estimated the wealth equita each region. Now Okamboma over the last 10 years, 4.7 trillion per economic output again. And he talks about other things in there. And it looks ambitious, but
yes, but our research, my sister, it's public knowledge. If you are minded to know, Ghana, we have a lot of resources that we are sitting on. We've not valued it, we've not brought it to the marketplace. And actually, that was what Japan was trying to do. Japan Medical Parliament, no more approving. It was trying to put this on the stock exchange so that we can gain the value from some mineral resources. But as of now, we haven't reached consensus on the way forward. It's not as if Ghana for political parties don't know. We have all these resources out there. And I think NPP tried to be very innovative by using some of those the Sino-Hydro loans, to be able to develop some areas like Nenini and some other places. Into resource now, Chida is confirming that, like I've said, we know this. Ghana was and I'm glad, say, as an independent candidate, he took time to be able to really understand Corona obedience. And that's why I'm giving a thumbs up, because I have brand here, Sister Fia, for an brand here in his age to be systematic in the way he wants to do things. If he say now or exhibited by me near Manibia, anything I mean, he said the Baumia and the crown, then into one fan, I want Metachi. Now I'm 2 million, but we want to build the system now. Starting yeah, but then you any money in our Sister Fia, it will just flow into the picture. Flow into the picture. So, Alan for Momrafi now, Mombeso, Yanfagan, and Kusi. So,
I'm more fractured and confident that for them Ramejo anymore, Baumia team. I have one some Ramejo and Baumia a team. No, are you sure NDC they are not leading? Because that's what NDC also thinks. Election, no more we need that. That's why you are calling on everybody to come. In fact, last week, me who on into video be and the fool on the way say our fan personal. He was saying it very emphatic. I say, I'm back. Baby, I'm going to
no, we need to remember, Meteneka, not who's not the world for power, the Captain Smart. Now things are emotional. I get it. Politics, I said, to the expo expectations high, not it is not matter. Those disappointments could come. But I know he need to say, you tell me now, MPP General Secretary. Now you've been in Kola. In the Majumadea, we are my MPP. Uku, you know, I am MPP. In the 77, there are some number. Now, a summer bar, now, son of now, Cassadia. Now, I say, we are here about Palmer. In Tinema training in our Russi in the Angu. Tina politics, young Yashi, you're Cassa, and you're very careful. And then I mean, you saw also a Yafa, and also a Kupia for Franto. Or Tina, Afra Franto, you know, back as yet the same MPP now, election and talk about more. Obviously, from Marco Johnny, another one, Robert Friend Spider. Inti asama ba ya botre tina party num na boa na yen hihya asem no yen solve it. And yet the solution is not going to form another movement and another party. Because party na be kese so problems here yen ya mature you go through. You think your party will not go through similar problems? It might not be the same exact problem, but it will be similar in different forms, different shapes. And if Alan is not there, somebody, that system that the party puts up should be able to run. Alan, you are channel before Bana went to me and yes, our system now. You won't face the same challenge. You will face challenges. Who face now something to talk about some party for. We understand you are not solving the problem, you are running away from the problem. Intina makes from say, Asamna Bomumra, na yina fee ni fee. Now me say 2024 election idiot. Omo de omo ho de ne beta e chia so omo run of you kan other independent parties ni de omo akoda kra na ye no omo nyina de odo na ashantema so e de omo shira ta e chi na Alan ye se be yebu no oka ye ho enu fie mu wa ye adwuma so ama NPP pa ye ntimi nka so se be onye adwuma ma wa ye adwuma ma na papa no rutimu sa ne nsa no ye fe na ne nsa no ye fe ni ti na akofo do so e de tumi kese sa sha ne nsa se ombo ano ma ne ye adwuma inti asam na ba asam ba se be yebufo inti na na only to mesra wa I know ma ajo breo na me diri so beba fie it is a fia election there it's between the NPP and the NDC. I mean it's a very straightforward fight between the NPP
and the second round now Mona can do you think they're likely Anna?
The second round is not likely given the past 4 elections now we've had. No, I think the only time we had a second round was when Kufuor at Tamils, right? Tamils, you called thing at Tamils 80 million 40,000 extra votes or they be winning election. Since then, all the elections have been one touch, right? And the one who has won it has won it. If I'm looking at the last 3-4 elections, now it has been one touch. I don't see how this one will go into a second round. Not because and you're possible a second round can come, but me share the dynamics of Ghana demographics, now me share the voting patterns now. I doubt this election will go into a roundup because there are so many things that NPP has been able to manage in this election in terms of risk factors. One of the risk factors was that if the NPP had not brought on Baumia, our issues should have been more compounded. And the Baumia factor kind of dampens a lot of our risk factors in some other areas. Because we are already an incumbent government, like you said. Every incumbent government struggles. Incumbent government, we are not, on your mission because what na be mo ache sabi mfum so beba nyema bi beba ngofo ani adubonjo so wa party fo ankasa kra na omo yadwuma ma no ebi kra be complaining. Those are there and no it's not because of NPP NDC betenaso the next government betenaso those problems will continue to be there after each election. But the problem is how you manage all these little issues in your party. And I will share this time, Sister Fia, you got a parliamentary candidate. We've not had more issues like we had when we were doing the 2008 one. 2008 when we had a lot of parliamentary issues, but this particular one, Justin Kobion and the team have managed that process well. And not just that there are no pockets of issues somewhere, but largely, 90%, I mean, we are on a very stable ground, aspect now. Into some of the risk factors, I think we've been able to manage it and bringing Baumia on board just makes it awesome because Sebio and Kabebi and struggle in minority groups, it's making it a bit softer for us. And your full guarantee, it's not full guarantee that because you brought Baumia, all the minorities will vote for you, but at least it gives you a leg, in that competition to be able to attract Sankophone to your fold. Into young fans say all these factors see a boom. Now, while you say independent football, see the dollar now account some economy anyway. Sankophone will be our losing the sister fear to be difficult to convince him to come and vote for you in this election. He might want to protest one way or the other, which is, expected. In the end, Sankophone in our pie chikakra, not to do on our bar. You're both to know about it, but and if you baby the net effect, it will still probably be a reduction of votes, but the impact is contained, it's minimized. And if that net effect is contained, Sister Fia, it's guaranteed that you can easily cross and win the election. Anytime say election win, the dynamics are different. And let nobody underestimate the dynamics in this election. And without some now or also the dynamics in this election dynamics now are very complex.
I think the general, to determine who is leading because the research is showing something else. At the end, a very tight rates. And to be in to castle upper hand as it is now because the whole of from last year, NDC was slightly leading NPP for, but it changed. And a mobile board brackets and DNA sound shifted. So let's look at what you more from moving out more perspective, what you see, Mona, Yancha Mahama, any Baumia campaign soon in the last month, in the last 2 weeks, in the last week. What do you see from where you are? So microphone, yeah, no, what do you know?
Yeah. I make us a same way there, and could be a case and confirm you know, Quasanka Krukun on Kabi.
Oh, but shareholders in there. We are stakeholders in Ghana democracy, no?
Yeah, but before I even commence now, I would like to let me say no na first now. Escape me. Minya Penyam Nene Shasho is one person I really admire. The way Okasa decently, Okasanza who say Okasa with issues. I've watched a lot of NPP communicators talk on shows, and sometimes it be more level of arrogance. They almost share the other panel members. Yeah, but Nanaya Asare is quite different. And interestingly, he's one of the favorite artists that Mitio Monyo gospel arena, though a gospel artist. But Nana Vim, na Ubisano, over the past few weeks, I've monitored the two front runners as the pundits put them on more campaign. And I must say, some domoto in Senini and Azamidi Omugu it looks like the NPP is having the crowd as well as the NDC. But Adia Mehua are very synonymous with the two and say it's a insults. It's no more like issues, abe insults and names calling. And you know, there are some people like Nanaya Asare or to about ne fanatism to chance or no staunch NPP. People like Nanaya Asare more belonging to the academia. They look at some of these issues. Say Munyama Lanchi manifestos not long ago. And instead of you to be delving much deeper into the manifesto and what they entail, I hear names calling. And now we see we a drunkard. And now we see we a pork eater. And I just say these things do not add anything to the discourse I have now. Naponso on the other side, no, so through jabs, and Obiba Obikun, Asofo, Obibu Kremofa, so that these things come and say, it was a moment in a volatile. I mean, this Obeka's a political talks, but a build up to something. To me, Napo, where you learned, where you doctor, I expect Napo Sen Kujano Kasa, Obe delve much deeper into the manifesto, especially what Obia Babe had education sector, and maybe Wanka, Napo Beka. On the other side, Papa John Mahama, so on why so can he, on Beka he, not also to be money, and it is not good. Again, against the backdrop of the fact that NDC launched their manifesto, and then the day after, NPP saw a media engagement for His Excellency. Whoever organized that thing was very smart because it was like Alan Ayebi, Mahama Ayebi, Baumia Ayebi, on facing media. So it was good. But I must say, on the flip side of the coin, too, Dr. Baumia really didn't take advantage of that situation. Oshe answers are, you ask yourself, this is a man that wants to attain the highest office of the land, the president. So if, for instance, if say, Cocoa Board, Egu, are you aware? You are not aware. For God's sake, you are the head of the economic management team. You should know. Again, Nipa 8 Mutu last 4 years. Ibisa say, has the president commented? Have you commented? Are there any investigation? And also, answer my answer. You are the head of the police. I mean, I can't say
police council,
police force, police council. So these things, answer be a and it got to a level where even Miracle Awaja had to say, the vice president is talking too much. I mean, to me, it was a no because MC Miracle realized they said the media were bombarding Dr. Baumia with some salient questions. Though a bimu banso be share benediction, a bimu by fans, but baby say a question. And the question about what a talk of town here. If I do everything now, what would I do if I come to office? That was a no because Sesania Canadian and Najo Mahama had no reason. Say let's get to Abetian because when Konoso Beka say or reserve before the next Rio Beba. You are the president, deputy, and our person obey president now. What's your mate? You want to be handed over the steer. Near Bisa said, Nema will criticize old driver and Nema will criticize the previous driver. No. Other than we implementing and now I will say, now if I do everything I'm bad. It is said there, O boss the catcher say, other than
you are one only power to implement it.
Exactly. And it is said the catcher boss say, O boss of business other than red, you mamma the mount target to news and I'm yin and rank and the enemy. This was, I mean, it was a no, but I think that. Yeah, it was a political blunder, but the NPP have been very smart. Also, some non-flies are. I think more try say in the media's in the space, you know, or more make sure say in central for highlight on. So not that much. And no, yeah, one time America say Abu Dr. Baumia, but for that, and America say Baumia Osha crowd didn't achieve the euphoria or cover beer. It didn't achieve. The America say, oh yeah, something similar to maybe who everything like 2008 too. 2008, all the grade A artists were on NPP stage. The euphoria, everything, incumbency, and the number 8 was also at play. 2008. This time, obviously, they want to break the 8. The 8 is still at play. You don't joke with some of these things. And again, Okojina, Ofuripenyi Fee, Baumia again distorted NPP's history. Few months ago, Admensia Ose Party and Akuma ne crash her. Bafa Kutunema is Canadian. Then fast forward. Out of Ofuripenyi Fee or say partner Ahane Shasi Fee. So which is which? And when you do some of these things, even now in the NPP, I tell you that there are people who are still not happy with the fact that Baumia is a flag bearer. Ebinu moha ayeni sokotoku akumam has. Ebibu believe say
I like that.
Sikana yeah, ebibu feel yeah, akumam has of hope. Ebibu believe say Sikana abedi campaign at Tintima men so minkodi bi. It's my trophy, yes. And Minya can say me say Alan Martin ambition ain't me possible. My man one reason why and I said Mammy MBA maybe soon you see why the run off
to campaign before the throttle mpedo rebepi throttle na now o analysis ya uni monarchy ye we bubu ma pray. I mean looking at me person we are seminar to look at what Mahama has been doing over the last month, over the last 2 weeks, and what Baumia has been doing. He has quite articulated from campaign, no crowd, no basic press, media encounter near there. Some of the places where Baumia take advantage. Some of the places NDC for Bomo Yemini are there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Question now, Musa Baumia, and especially Cocoa Body. I think so. Answer so on your show say Cocoa Body because it was like the journalist was asking something that is not factual, and he was telling him, "It's
not factual." Debbie, Nana, Tobo. Cocoa Body, Cocoa Board no. Did Baumia say he's not aware?
I say I'm saying answer no bonny tip now. The obey me a response. He answered journalists in fact, Okachian say and Yahweh said so that the journalists ne can say Cocoa Board the guno. That is the information. And then Yahweh and not just a Cocoa Board ni challenge so. On the amateur no. It's question that journalists need beside particular was to the fact say Cocoa Board is bankrupt, Cocoa Board are collapsing, and it's like no, it's not aware. Cocoa Board might have challenges. So as a journalist, that's why I think our journalists must help us research your fact, come and
I'll defend me as journalist. No, not because I'm defending journalism because of a journalist. My bias is not because I have the data from Cocoa Board. For the first time, Ghana cocoa production has gone below 500,000 metric ton. President Kufuor 1 million metric ton. Of course, more NPP mobile. At least 2017, 2018, you took us to 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 million metric ton. So if cocoa board production, cocoa production, about below 500, that is a legitimate question. Said journalists, and they use the word collapse. It is about me claiming so on your aware of this drastic fantabulous decline in cocoa production. If he's not aware, that is an indictment on him.
I don't think he said he wasn't aware. And then it's somebody's characterization of the answer, no man.
From 1.4 million to less than 500,000. You collapse and then you collapse.
I don't think that's a collapse because I mean, sister, if you are before for 1.4 now, 1.4 was one time peak BO. Before that, I don't think so. Now we're doing around 900,000, 800,000. So Bekaya, pruning, fertilization, other and the man course. And of course, over time they through say declining. The point I'm making is that Baumia was answering, he actually answered the journalist question, except that maybe some people always want the answer in a certain form. If they don't get in that form, they think you didn't answer the question. But based on question as journalists, maybe so I just not aware, say Cocoa Board is having challenges, no two ways about that. We can deal with that, I mean, specifically. But I'm just speaking to the fact of questionnaire he was asked. You know? And now, you say, you say Nkofobi about to Nkofobi journalist will be saying, say, or is he aware or something? Of course, I mean, I don't think so about me, because I want this issue. But oftentimes, question me on man, if you've not, talked about it very carefully, now the answer. You have to be careful because we are talking about comfort life. The emotions involved, people have died, and you are better off not saying something if you don't have the full fact to be able to assure everybody, and than saying something that will trigger, some negative, repercussions out there. It's very unfortunate, sir, issue, but I think, sir, and I think that brings the other issue of what NDC, Peace Council for Ashidin Ketia was speaking to some of those issues. And military for whatever the situation, me after science, and I have not heard the military come out to say anything to clarify what happened. All we know is that these people died, and it was very unfortunate.
There's information more party for now. The cases are in court, but there's been no prosecution in even one final prosecution in even one of the cases. Nipa 8 no movie, cases in the for the court, but none of the cases now concluded. 18 in are still pending. Yeah.
And I made that so the court standards are very high because you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So the Afoko crazy NPP it's still in the courts. It's all in the amateur, so it doesn't get resolved that easily. That's simple. I'm saying, say, Obiama Jubremba and Kokra Massa situation in my MM, we stay a time say a court. You ever call a better so Obia Shreneba, Obia Shre. How are you going to compensate them with anything? Nothing on earth will compensate them for the loss of somebody's life. Into your honor, make a check out of funds as we go into 2024. Be careful. Don't go and die for any politician. So these politicians, as they are here, so what do you think that they are coming to do for who now that you think they couldn't do for you in the past? Now, me a question. This is a press conference. It didn't do by me.
There be assessment on the issues. He did his own and on the press conference. You also look at Bahamas campaign.
I thought the press conference was for strategic reasons. It was a very good one. I mean, it achieved the purpose for which, I mean, it was set out. And I don't know why NDC want to complain. Say we deliberately set out the press conference. Say you better divert on one manifesto. The media space no on. So be and you say NPP for Kochichi media phones as a mom can before manifesto, mon can before quadi. Media space, so you must come in with a strategy. And I make an election campaign in yes, sir. Also, I know what tears in a campaign. You must know what you're doing. At each point within the campaign process, what is it that you have to say, how you have to pivot, how you have to get the attention. Donald Trump, who send your money be okakano, who she one-on-one party, two power, and go back. Or because or the top media space amano, or the top attention a brand, so they are on hand on could change scabby. And we are no strategy into one of the all better soccer cannons, also say, Papa, we are grouping on initial. No, so on in the oil behind on an argument, on him saw they pay media or the same attention to himself. Me feel say when you acquire NDC for like I said, Matanasia you flag bearer and no Matanasia my be a flag bearer. There I say a couple launch a manifesto, most 1 week time, most and then the moment complaining say, oh, Momo Koyamudia, the Abacoba idea. Now, your press conference after my manifesto launch, I'm more complaining. I don't know why Mahama was even complaining about that because that even indict you as a former president that you've not been serious all this while. You had all this opportunity, all this time to do everything that you want to do. We have been late even coming into this game, electing or appointing our flag bearer and our, what do you call it, our running mate. And then we come and we are ahead of you in terms of the media strategy, and now you are complaining. Independent with us, they'll be like, no, this guy, you are not serious. If you're in government, you are not an island on yourself. You are competing against nations. And every nation is trying to beat the game in the global space. So you must be smart. And the things that you do in opposition will reflect exactly the things you do in government. Into me, fee, sir. But me has shown, sir, yes. we are a very strategic team. We know when to, move the country. We know when to get the attention. And when we're in government, it is the same strategic positioning that you need to be able to compete against other countries that are competing for, the space out there. And I think, sir, that only adds up to the game plan, and that only adds up to the fact that, yes, this is the man we can trust to lead us.
Okay. I think that you should address as someone more than can. But this week, one of the things he feels say or shut a monitor campaign and more blanda back with Napo. Some of the things he said, any other say, what's it? More common back on Masambe, and he's saying that to the fact that more campaign, no more advantage, but also more a lot of disadvantages in the campaign compared to Muni and NDC for.
Mona, so when him say, yeah, political parties, like I said, no. The fact that that doesn't mean people will be perfect about everything. If MP gets everything right, then that will be unheard of. Nobody, they will make mistakes too. In our own campaign, we'll make mistakes, but it's all about how we manage those pitfalls and how we're able to easily, cross over them. And like with every party, every party will make mistakes in this campaign. It's not easy. So don't human beings, and things will slip through year one or there. But what I'm saying, and I say, generally, I think, sir, we should veer off that angle. So far, we've done very good. I mean, pushing it to issue base. So be candidate and no candidate or a need or a way. No, people should not. That is just to excite.
Where is that even coming from? Is it from communicators now?
Attach honum and attach J of the same stage, Casano and Wakasi. Your candidate with you or no one's one will be a deal, but so himself in the political. Well, I mean, names are put in mirror in this case. Me name the ornaments, me names will be no one's into all kind, and I'm like, what was the reference? Meaning the attachment in my meaning, but one will be a deal. Generally, he said it. So, yeah, candidate with you or no one's. And now, wow, two candidates meaning to be Uncle Ball and will be Uncle Watch and will be Uncle Bob, other people in right away people started the biggest, political opponents, and almost took offense. I don't know if they reacted, and who said reaction there if you could I don't think say genuine. It looks like somebody said it's fake. Trying to debunk say they are attaching a kind it's unhealthy, say more or less giving it forward. I'm like, why will a political party react to something like this?
Because to be quite the sympathy votes because they are more if attach I'm not kind of below the belt. Why must we even make Ghana? Yeah, Ghana for our Ghana no. A more 80%. Yeah, no matter. Damage say no yeah tones agree and call abem tie yeah and say what the be can at yeah but Ghana for the no matter. So why should I don't want to can say more cause political blunder. A politician. That's why John Dumelo and I was defending John Dumelo. So people must cut him some slack because a young politician, but for somebody like an Atachian, a former minister, a lawyer of that high standing, why would he make such a statement on the platform, a political party platform? Was it politically right?
Beshi na lawyer to a kind of political campaign platform, which I told him not Beshi Acho, now Beshi near Manaba. But I think General I agree with me and Monarch say no, we must veer off that path and begin the big important issues to discuss like Alan Chamantin, GTP, NPP manifesto, NDC manifesto. Let's focus our attention on the positives and drive the conversation along those positive lines because Ghana phone need that. Because, sister, there's one thing about campaigning people don't realize. As people campaign, depending on your mokano, it has a psychological effect on the population and how we think. So on the mature. And even when you are campaigning, the terms you use are very important. Anything about me, it is possible. You might take it for granted, but psychologically, it prepares the population. It prepares people to think in a certain way and be able to drive the country in a certain direction. Into positive vibes actually has, productivity enhancing and what do you call life changing or the same effect on people. And it's platforms now, politicians, use it to build our minds towards the possibilities of we able to achieve the things they want to manifest. I think that for me, Ghana will be better off with that approach than sticking to trivial, tangential, negative aspect about the campaign. Into all the messages I do remember. Now let's focus on the issue. But sister, if you're like you said, no, we're a political party. We will make blunders in this campaign. It might not be one, it might not be two. We'll make blunders, but always think about it. The big picture is that the net effect is that those blinders don't undo us or put us in a very bad place. And none of the Basa, you don't have, they say with the short window, you don't have enough time to unwind it quickly. So as we approach the election day proper, blind the BRB, so one managing here and now one making sure about what is happening, it can cost you a lot because you don't have the time and the luxury to come back and be correcting or the saying cleaning your back and as for. But some of the teams say we are politicians. As we campaign, we'll say stuff, we'll go off, but generally, if we're able to achieve 85-90% decency, I think that is a pass back. We can give the politicians and now the candidates back on the park say they've done well. I don't expect 100% campaign without some of these issues, but generally 90%, 85%, if we are there, I think that will be a pass mark for me, and I think that will be that course.
Okay. Well, and how can politicians they go dinner way so and let me say but let me come back to a but I mean more video we say in because I'm looking for a Apache video because seriously I will also condemn Asemno because me obi no mon san any crime. I mean I'm mama do we Obama nomne Timor so nomne Trump want to make up campaign or pap. Obera na de friend bubra and be no mabu no money for pabo numbi no more chile. Obama did it a couple of times. Even Germany, our former chancellor Angela Merkel, because Germany there is synonymous with beer. Beer type of beer will be Germany. And they drink beer. Why is it I am quiet there? Obinum science an issue. Why should I be in a Friday night? You know? It's my member video and I'm coming back to Monarch or
and you say why buying neighbor if we say NDC neighbor abeboa equiafo na omwejuma etimi atumpon if we say yenim say teach you say wo bu oman ana wo hwe oman so a ne ehia pa ne say wamanfo ene aduane edi ene aduane bo de den ezu NPP amambonti afimpo ensu anto yie ama yeduani bebre asai ezu eza entina NDC de near friend of Farmers Service Center I just said district bia ye bie back ho ye say enkabom enema honde se o kuta praye baako na ubumu a ebu eso di na abomu a ubu a enye yie enti NDC for me stremo ye na ye nipa baako menim say ye primaries and ye parliamentary candidate obi akopre bi and so
well again when you say I mean kind of straight politics and Mahama you say I mean more born into ensure cranto and also just cheap politics. I mean these ones there. And how kind of a platform no party politicians who could do on man because of the cancer it's completely irrelevant and no phobia but and I'm the cancer a bad governance is in science the mechanisms of rainfall and it has nothing to do with bad governance or anything like that. What I say again, my member video away from Baumia.
Delay this year, Mia and Famisica Asi, Sa School. Nidia, the Dikaya, because ye, the Bedio Mampinia, if you are for agriculture, every year the #1 priority for economic development. Sana Mepese district mechanization centers, Namidi FDA tractors, Nadia, dear, Ama every district, Abua Equiafo, Aye Juma. The Pese moving away from oil and gas, there you see solar power. In Vianney, Edia chain free, they use solar power, and generating electricity.
Okay, so this is also another campaign platform. I think this is also one of the issues and I'm to use against Baumia say or promising Yama obey. But the question is when you're 8 years in office in the second highest office of the land. This one of the ponchos I'm gonna make a member of her back and look at again.
I'm responding to that question. Yeah, Monarch. Like, I mean, governance, someone who said governance, any event, it doesn't stop even after me or whoever wins the next election. Some of the issues will still be a running issue. It will run into other regimes. And like we are saying, you cannot solve all problems in one time period, another point in time. Some foundations have to be laid for some other things to evolve or come up. One ladies have foundation, you cannot run into those other things. So, and maybe no bit me are solving it now, realistically. Maybe you do a habit me now, he can do something about it. But then you have to be more specific.
Yeah, but Nana, I think the issue is that there are impending issues based on the performance, 8-year performance of Nanado Bawumia Abai. I say those issues, apart from some media encounter now, journalists to me Bawumia questions about the performance 8 years. I say he's promising new things, but people want him to account for things like corruption. 8 years of corruption. How have you fought corruption? 8 years, how have you managed the economy? How have you stabilized the city? 8 years, those are the ones. Monarchy can address it. And some of our body be at the count.
Question here, if you ask a pointed question, they said there will be some corruption. Now I can go and talk about corruption pointedly because what is and Baumia told you, sir, the approach near the corruption, it's always been after the fact. Nipa medi boni ne yeni akoshe mrakete si special police assembly say you so talk with them dan simple do ya there or say or suspect bi because to me come but first mrana ne wo nipa medi boni ya fear say they wa question we loot you at the navy the horse has already round and left a cage and no catch us and now we have to try a different approach and say both the systems said that it can be preventative. You don't even give anybody the opportunity to be able to loot us before we go chasing the person. Another solution is a different angle. It's not coming with more of the say prosecutorial nema. And no, if we're able to deal with the preventive aspect now, and it will become less of our concern, we can put our prosecutors to other tasks, other important tasks, because buying so. And that is his approach. That's how he's solving that problem. They are, of course, like I said, we are Bemwa. Abambia will not get, the next government will not be 100% perfect. The next government will not have any issues. The next government will not have any challenges. Every government will have challenges, will have issues. But like I always say, it is the magnitude of what those challenges are, how it impacts everybody's life. And how you're able to manage it. Intimaka Chegana for said, don't be in an expectant mood, regardless of who wins the next election. So our next government will still have challenges. So our next government will still have problems. But the question is, to what extent are those problems said that, the impact on our lives negatively and said that it can be blamed directly on the mismanagement of that government? I think those are the critical questions.
Okay,
that,
very well. Well, remember again this week assessment. When the campaign, like they are getting close to the finish line.
I think Osha of the two are, to me, the only advantage Baumia has better than the rest is the fact that or enjoy one incumbency. And Baumia, like you said in your initial submissions, what me at on the name Baumia rings bell. Over Baumia, we be doing Supreme Court. Over Baumia, we be doing digitalization or come even though it's any money in the hand, maybe Samia. To me, and then you say, the general so cassette, Baumia be extraordinary. Oko Supreme Court now could differ any achievement. And no, it's not an achievement. Baumia,
well, they lost the case anyway. It's true. That's also a valid point. Yeah.
Baumia going to go differ court. No one is a achievement. Flag the Rashi praise not the cartoon who say, on the court now, it amounted to nothing. Again, Osha Baumia and Baumia Jawina, as I want to say, when young Kophobia may be very experienced in the party or the campaign, Obi to say, Yabapa, former General Secretary.
Damboche, no prayer, yeah.
Damboche is one man I really respect. And he said, when you have such people in your campaign, they can be correcting the wrongs. It's just that to me, Napon almost Sunday in the year. Napo dear. Me masha matcha ye substitution play then. Obey my say because Napon is like we've seen Ali Mahama. We've seen even
obviously as some now something we do advantage
that's it. I can't tell you Napon the one because if you believe say choosing a running mate from the Ashanti will add something to your stocker. Any other than one choosing the main candidate entry honor because Napo to me, even at the Menchia South now, Napo fans
Oh, and I
I don't know any constituency or no.
Only constituency and the fancy. Yes, if you
But he has won the seat over 1 million for a long time.
Exactly. And NDC running mate on pre-MP now. The opponent on running mate on pre-MP now. Political say we represent a constituency on pre-MP now.
Oh, but the thing is, Ocean Apo, Edin Apo, no, and what we've known him for. Say we be our astute Dr. Aja, our dentist, and obey NP, obey education minister. At least
I think we're a surgeon rather, not a dentist. I think we're a surgeon.
Why not there? At least what one also live in the market. And he made an army expert to say, many shop as I said, do you need us running meter? And I will see some of these. See comments now are passing the sun. I said, I don't want to ebola suture. Kwame Nkrumah deɛ no ne recently say was Akekano. Obi on my infinity muda. Oh, and as a running mate, you have to add something to the boss now. I found, but when it's like Baumia Kabi, Baumia has been talking about issues. Maybe Baumia promises no money. Now, who said the donor a year recycled in Yaman or Kapat. Senka all can and Aponso can be there for us, but all can about Aponso can be there tangentials. We do not add anything to it. Now, Nana, the election, a dangerous one, I say, one, to even begin with. Even if Baumia wins the presidential elections, question that they will be silent about it, even the minister secretary. NPs in parliament is another headache people should consider because the rate at which people from your own party are standing or going for independent, which many of them will win. And also a threat, it's a headache people must deal with. And said Nipano commanded clouds, you want to say swimming MP. She says Cynthia Morrison. She said come A+.
Yes, Cynthia Morrison that would be a very big blow to NPP.
And if Obi Ohonma, Obetuama, Cynthia Morrison, Ebufoiti apart you want to cram MPP. And it is your disadvantage. Again, Sawosha Ekufa the Goose Unya and Ashanti region, 2020, the last election. Unya 1,793,773, representing 71.64%. JDM 652,962, representing.
Region be Atana, okay, and our constituency be
Ashanti region.
Ashanti region, okay.
You see, NDC targeted 30%, we got 26. The election here. What the 1 million votes the free opposition were winning in power, our own implementing free SHS now. Your votes dropped 500% something.
But on your normal trend, say party be about normally in the second term you vote to so take
NPP almost 80% a ambition because NPP has never even crossed win crosses over 66% and 76%. Almost best of 76. And to say, oh, what targeting 80%? It doesn't come on a silver platter. You must do something extraordinary because Ashanti region, people are really, really disappointed and apathy don't quite enough. They are launching a and again, NPP votes there drop here. You share NDC, so NDC just increase here. About 26, 2016 only at 23%. 2020 about 26%. So say you should know say the dynamics are changing. And again, this is a candidate I'm presenting now. Or no, yet to will be. If somebody was kicked out of power because of an exchange rate and less than 4 cents, what is the motivation of maintaining Obi at 16 cents? What? Baumia has been running away from the very reason why he was brought, which is the economy. And then, okay, economy and some and now come Baumia criticize and say the vice president rule is not defined by the constitution. But when he was yeah, but when he said 170 questions for Bizata, he's just trying to outsmart us by Yahoo because this one Kenya 2020 promises and I can list a number of them. I'll say about digitizing school feeding program March 8, 2022. Ghana to get back on PayPal May 11, 2018. Government to pay rent for working youth August 20, 2020. Every Ghanaian to own a bank account December 5, 2017. Okada for trotro and taxi swap September 17, 2020. New harbor and airport for Cape Coast 2020. 16 SHS schools in selected Zongo communities August 22, 2020. Okoyendi Okopromise Yana Sky Strip away Kualugu Dam Okada 2020 2024 so ban obey 1 year Damango Okoki can go 80 Baumia has one fundamental issue to do with how to convince Ghanaians and say, you bet me trust them.
Out of 20% of Neman, you don't 20% now, but 80% now.
And then I'm marking they do 80%. No matter what say, what you have fulfilled by 80% of the promises, it is a lie. Take the free SHS, 1D1 MD.
Oh,
what kind of city stabilization? Maybe city stabilization, taxation. Moka said, more better to the hikes in fuel price will be a thing of the past. I will protect the public purse. I will not run a family and friends government. In fact, and then will be Ghana beyond 8. We are not the question. Be PN one Mokaya about 80% in more better than Accra to be the cleanest city in Africa. And then will be on make me listed 20 promises of a people. But you see, the NPP is smart. All the free SHS no. And our baby, two kaya, and now can health as my free SHS. Okay, security as my free SHS. And now can economy not Russia, Ukraine. But Ukraine for now, yet to bomb problem. What almost say, serious. How? Ukraine now more yet to bomb problem. Oh, agriculture produce a few of them. COVID, the World Health Organization, it declared COVID over 2022. But you COVID chance if we go and check the economy. But Omiaka said, how does a global phenomenon leave the surrounding countries and attack only Ghana? And then you can't news to an exogenous factor say Russia, Ukraine. How come Russia, Ukraine will Benin? And then Benin has the lowest inflation in West Africa, and it's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. COVID maybe attack Benin and maybe attack Cote d'Ivoire. So, Baumian said now Canada here. Obetia Gatani panel rally the Obi Chemukra to go to Chema. If say also a business opportunity. I saw the Chema a business opportunity. But on the day, no, and some of Kenya, they are not reflective on the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian citizens. And that is a threat because Alan Chemate said the sister Alan Chemate has nothing to lose. If Alan Chemate loses this election, and then news because independent candidate behind it, even though we know, said deep down in our hearts, there will be something unusual happening. But more than what by me, and I maybe say, if somebody was kicked out of power because of an exchange with an less than 4 cities, then what must be done to Ubi and the 16 cities?
Mama, I'm sorry.
That's it. Okay. The city's depreciation on the NPP. You are suffering an unconscious incompetence. So when you talk like this, people are watching.
Of course.
Okay. I think it's fair. So whoever responded to it, but I think take it first, not from the city, but first from the point I'm gonna crazy and say, Morani meeting is taken away from your campaign, even instead of adding to your campaign. I want to be changing and I start from there because that's where he started from.
Sir, our running mate is we are not going to change him. You know that for a fact. I mean, and then he's the one we are very confident in him. We know, sir, he's a very capable man. He's an achiever. I mean, he demonstrated a bit. I didn't have to be here. He's a very hardworking gentleman, and he achieved results. And for me, coming from a corporate world, I am attracted to such people, and that's why I'm overly attracted to Baumia.
But answer the issue he's raising, sir. Comment like to say attach here the blunder back on, and he's talking about blunder and a poor comment. NDC was all those things necessary? More friends but do you manage these things? And I'm a candidate for platforms that they can say whatever they want.
I already told you, sir. In this election, there will be mistakes. Some are cash out, some natural. So there will be things that Yankasa continue we can say, no, I had the candidacy and I avoid this. Those things will be there. We evaluate those things, we take stock, and then we assess and we move on. And the issue here is not to say, if I were in the shoe, I would have made my own mistakes in a different way. Maybe I would have said something else that would also be overly, over the bar, or to some people, or to independent people, or on the amateur. But the ambassador who say campaign, there are some issues. And we say you are quite exposed to be an there are some issues when you say you are not targeting independent voters, so you are trying to energize your base. I don't know independent person you are not to be that near man service. But who base now person energize your money there, you can get them along. An election here, and yeah, independent for you need obeys, to come along mostly. Into strategy, and tactics, It's even you move overly go and accuse a candidate and say so can't send. But yes, for an independent perspective, the bell say no, I say but from the base, they want to be energized, they want to be driven along. Some of those things excite them. It might not even be healthy. And that is one bad thing about political campaigning. There are some things that politicians will say. Oh, it's a
and floating voters.
Yeah, sometimes some of those things will play out. And it's not because I am money to it is something in elections generally everywhere. There are some things that politicians on the platform that is saying that independent, reasonable people are sitting out there.
When I first noise in the way in but noise in them, I don't know, baby, I'll do phone I see and now microphone noise, but I know my silence no.
Who are assessing them and how independent people, they will not give those things weighty, they will not even make them weighty issue. But a bad base now, once they are energized and they are going with you. Donald Trump, that's one of the biggest strategies, very good at. Why should somebody can if he's independent people mind and in the argument? But he's targeting the base form, he's getting them along whilst trying to manage the ones that he will say to the independent voter. And sometimes I can understand say
it's most
yeah, so politicians, Makajo said these are politicians, and so many politicians that will follow you. So why wouldn't they do some other things are very unconventional. I will not take that part out of it. I'm just being realistic here, being pragmatic. That in politics, you have to understand it from that angle. So we said you presidential primary, so to think some of form, but and you may be a bit it is only a man who has it place. And there's a reason for that. But like I said, to the extent that you're able to manage Sanya and endorse be and overriding the bigger issues of something we can live without it. Move on.
I think Monarch now comment on that as I know for party food soldiers.
Yeah, party food soldiers no crowd is Oman almost spirit coffee. Stevia. What about your campaign or yeah? Door to door now in a pan. That is the main job of the food soldiers. And food soldiers, who say polling station there of 5 executives. In this 5, say electoral area piano. Munya nipa be 30 kwana. They are enough to go to vicinity. If you NDC for we had the NPP for next year. If you they are the people that know
the local boots on the ground.
Exactly. But so who's about Miamum upon himself? May if Baumia wins this election in an unlikely event he has worked for it. I mean, he has worked for it. Because Baumia has been moving from house to house and another comes to a pizza man. And on Kenya Baumia.
Pizza
it goes a long way to tell you how the base is weak. The base no
base is weak.
And if the base is energized, and you're one of the Ekufadu, meaning 2080 NPP, Ekufadu Bekumasia, who's a Bema Bekum. Those days, who's a Kufadu Pampine, who's a Yamaminum Duku, and they go to Kumasi. When Baumia came to some magazine, I have friends there, Mimico School of some magazines in Joseph. Madame Gozima, Ubiquita megaphone, or I announced the some vice president about when the meeting, people are angry. But
even Kumasi,
I tell you, I mean, we've seen Baumia go to Central Mosque or via an Indian Muslim for Cranfield. It tells you how people are, and even Muslim community as my case, if you are but not just subject.
No, but in the initial comment, I made comments about this. A Muslim so about Baumia side. So if you have different I think you can share it too.
Dr. Baumia and you need also dual identity. You need small Medran apart by Kamuni, you don't know a Christian. And it's because
no, I don't below the belt. So be about me.
Oh, yeah, but if you are what I saw the near man reverend now also son of brigade. And I know the wedding pictures by now, so I white wedding and Christian wedding.
Now, yes, Muslims need to call Christian schools.
Yeah, because I Christian ceremony back, Muslim ceremony back. People do that too. Address it too. In any case, it makes me about a Satan and not on your full blown ceremony.
And maybe I know about me, and yet Obama mom and full blown cremony. I mean, you know, of Anoma, they converted later.
Maybe fear cremo.
Maybe of Anomi and say a cremo for. What I say, you to me worry or baby, no, and your cremony, not that man mama converting. No, I make cremony.
And let me tell you,
converting. So I think over here he is. I'm sorry, we can't use the wedding picture.
Tangentials, but to come to the substantives, you know, this is a man that over the past 2 years, we're sorry, they were saying, I don't know, only God knows how many times. And it's because
I'm a Christian. He's equally gone to mosque several times.
Okay. Recently, Alan Martin passed the comment. He said, Ghanaians must elect a leader or yet Christ-like. Emma, you blue at the end say Alan A play religious card. But Edna Maker said, Baumia, as a Muslim, no, he's been in churches soliciting for the Christian votes because he knows, he said, currently the population census say NHS Christians from 71+%. So it's only expedient, say, a honobina votes every so if vote. Campaigner. So it was only right, says Alan Martin, who could the faith folks and him. No, so solicitor. It was nothing wrong, but how people blew Adena out of proportion. And you see, some of our Muslim brothers now also see it differently. Say, a Christian for them as a practice is via even the Quran now can kind of engine to know. Oko Asoro say, we all know that Jesus Christ is going to be he's the true Son of God who come back and judge the world. Oko Quran. Oh yeah, maybe my video. The laptop's in there.
Because this prophet.
Yes. Islam, the only Obani Bible is our Quran, Mary. They believe in the virgin conception of Christ. They believe in his birth, but they don't believe in the fact that Christ died and resurrected on the third day on the cross. They don't believe in the Holy Trinity. So, sorry, they're not so because other section of the Muslim community they won't say, "Oh, you're blasphemous," and they don't, open one religion, joke with, rules, bend rules, Islam. But
Mamin can be message open one religion, or we are very tolerant, or we are very flexible, so Islam.
Oh yes, but flexibility, no. Even when you go to Islam, soon after they have differences in terms of doctrines and idea. And I
learned differences.
Yes,
but my talk into a point in the same. The point is about me and your true Muslim and I say,
no, he's a true Muslim, but Nema Oya, the actions are and also provoke another section of the on faith folks, because for instance, now make us say, sorry, them na ukoti scriptures I don't care about it, but to say Jesus Christ is the true Son of God that will come and defeat the Antichrist. No, on maybe or and my actual. Okay. It's a mini Christian because that is my belief. But to the other side,
that is your point. Okay.
What is 2 Corinthians?
And your issue is that and Cremophone will not vote for him by doing and saying those things.
It is not as easy as
what is that Trump? What say 2 Corinthians? What is that?
Yeah, me tell you.
Christian,
but you see, America for the
difference.
Yeah, we pay attention to a lot of the moral issues attached to. But in conclusion, I want to add by saying sometimes when a man like Atachian speaks like the manner or Kasayana, now Amal Bisao says, is this the NPP president Kofomo left in the care of a Kufado? Before so make his comment, the Kaka said, we shouldn't leave the country in the care of a journalist, but we should leave it in the care of an economist. To me, it's an indictment on the intelligence.
That's an insult. Again, that's an insult. Yeah.
You don't talk like this. That already economists, and your economists, in the economists, they are talking as if Baumia is fair. We have witnessed Ali Muhammad, who was just a contractor. We never read of Ali Muhammad being an economist, but Ali Muhammad was able to bring our economy from a HEPEC economy to a middle income economy. Baumia had the economic messiah, and interestingly enough, the messiah came. And at the time, Okas were arrested dollar. How the dollar was able to break jail and a mystery. that we need to unravel. So, but Umia will be here. This is the time on chain the magic. Ebi kura no be mama tie fa lunch matechi. Na maba be dey say cedi no nkwa wet. O timi man back 10 cedis scratch to the dollar me fra lunch matechi.
Yeah, Monarch,
The better challenge you're throwing to Nana.
Yes. Let me speak to the city.
Monarch is confused. I think that what Monarch is saying technically is even disagreeing with my initial point, which I said that Muslims are supporting. He's saying it's about Myanmar. Actions, he's a confused Muslim. His actions are contradicting Islamic doctrine.
Sister Fia, yes, like Asamokana, I get what he's trying to say, but what I'm trying to tell him is that, you see, what assumption in the every candidate that comes into the election will win on all scores. That is the assumption you're making here, that every strategy beyond Mefano, they are going to get 100% perfection. There will be minuses here and there, but like I'm telling you, it is your ability to manage those minuses across the board so that they don't become an issue for you.
Managing it.
Maybe catch and make it a point, maybe the point is like I've told you, Islam is a very flexible religion. So what can conform we are flexible with our practices, being able to win maybe Islam. And for me, the Islamic Studies from University of Ghana, like 100, and I enjoyed learning Islam and the way it's flexible in so many things about how they're able to practice some of their religious name. And I was shocked because when I Islamic Studies from University of Ghana, 100, now I didn't know much about until I was exposed that way, Eastern religions, so I did religions about some other place. But make up see the points. As someone now can say, yes, Yonko Fubo how extreme Muslims, so now can they don't want this
intermediate of religion.
Yes, they are people like that. But so based on the nature and the character of the chief imam over the period, the chief imam naturally said that kind of extremist, it's not central core of Islam is. And the chief imam notion the character, his character, the way in Yamaha has been able to foster that cohesion between the Christians and the Muslims.
Yeah, because
exactly. He typifies that, I would say, core Muslim, not the extremists. Be like I tell you, everything, they are extreme people. They are not the people. I'm talking about the generality. So he typifies that kind of person, and the things I learned in my Islamic class when I was at the university, because he shows that the religion is not as people see it. It's more beyond that, and he goes there, and he's for peace, because Islam, that's all one of the key cardinal things is peace, right? Into the in that sense, walk of us are extremists for only tangentials for now. Yes, there will be people who think like that. I won't dispute that, but I can tell you that they are in a very small.
But now he's talking about doctrinal issues. The core of Islam or someone. Sir, in Cremophone, Jim, say yes to Christo, dear, or Yameba. It's one of some says about me. I'm sorry, them. That's all. No, Cremonia or Nympha in Cremosumni Gina, so yes to Christo, dear. On any agent, Quanoas. So they are complete deviation from the Cremophone video.
Monarch can say, I don't know about that, but Monarch, and you may be on my fact. It doesn't matter how you try to embellish it, it will be a fact. So on the Christians, the Muslims, fundamentally they agree on some, they disagree on some things. And then they want me to be there after this election cycle forever and forever. So there are some things I don't want to really haggle about, because factual. It's fundamental to assume the way they see things, and you have to give it to them. That is their right. Anybody can agree on a certain perspective, can disagree. I have no issues with that. As to whether the Abamiaka and Aokan, I haven't seen that, I haven't heard that, and therefore I cannot confirm the Aokan. I won't want to go into that aspect. But like I said, the fact that we hold religious differences and we can still tolerate each other, we can still live together. Sure, all African countries are sister Vietnam make culture. So that is one thing that makes Ghana democracy premium. Make a premium is because of that element way. In other African countries, this cohesion and also coexistence of Muslim and Christian, I find simple because of maybe I'm in Chroma boarding school or the band. Because me call Jomama Chroma, or me call me JSS. Because St. Kizito's primary need JSS, and St. Kizito's a Catholic school. Maybe a
Catholic school, yeah.
Yeah, but Catholic school, any Muslims for no, and I need a course asking me now for me broken offer. They are Muslims. Oh, it is only a man in our political space, as sanitizer, Christians and Muslims are able to coexist because of your foundation, your boarding school system, that's a form. Into Basa, Niamaya, who found to say normal Ghana. What other countries and normal how? It's a big tension, it's a big issue, it's one of the key security threats that you have to manage. And it is Nadebia Mikas and Magana when you corner in terms of the way I have more and by to the
Okay.
you say Yantan and Sam Pano.
Okay. And it's point in it and Kagama Koyan jubilate post about me or your cremoni to me
one Bible
you know some.
Yeah, now Christians don't see me call chief imam ho. Sabi asofo akesi prophet akesi to me call papa no. Me feel say that is, I mean, a fundamental thing that we have to be very proud about our country, regardless of whatever happened in this election. So I need to continue to live with our country because chief imam opens our space, and our Muslim brothers also have accepted it's sabi me one of na Muslim for no mudi sa omo e de fit ni we na omo kunkum na ma me na for me timi ko obi e ko
Betty necro
yeah, and this is if your mama responded to the question about the dollar.
Briefly, na me more man for joining because couple person commenting.
And I make a boy a fact. Share the fact is he didn't sabi agent komu echiano that is a fact. We can't run away from the fact that the city moved from 4 to 16. But like I always say, when you fear follow Ghana, me economics or University of Ghana. Me major even economics. Yeah? Since Nkrumah Beresha Bepem Sadi, you mean reverting. You see the monarch and course road out. Do one say buffem. It continues to go down. The thing in the say politicians and what they come and they do because of Munim said they cannot contain it and reverse it within a short period. No, it is the degree of depreciation that they try to manage. That has always been the argument. In whose period did the city depreciated more? It's always been a depreciating currency, right? No, I haven't seen in any government where the city have turned around and a bit appreciative 1 man, 2 man, but generally, it's a declining currency. And in the next government, the city will still continue to depreciate. I'm telling you this for a fact. I think they made a professional in the
and now more catch it, campaign, I'm catch about me. I bet you. Dollar and now him say and throw say
no stability. Your cash is still in high stabilizer. Does that mean that it's not depreciating?
The more you use terminology say Mama Chena Mamu de Safano. Those are where all your one katamo embellishments.
Baumia said that like something Baumia saying just so Bekaya, sir, or the saying or see if I solve what the problem, well then what will I come to? He said it in the jest. So I wouldn't, but people, of course, it's a political campaign. They will not.
What can they work? What can they work?
Those are you have to put it in context. Like any day you can, of course. So people know the cassie, that is something that is part of. I think so. One of the areas we've also fallen short of. We agree. We acknowledge and yet just our cost. And we share a manifesto now. We are addressing cost of living, and we're saying that we're going to tackle that aspect, And of course, we also say we're going to expand the goal for oil policy, and do some other things. Are able to continue the sliding decline of the earth of the city,
So, in your analysis, because meaning say now say I'm commission some research. So, 2016 as early as May, June, NDC for him Zombeluzu. So they knew party for Namubeluzi and number winning amunim. It's more research. Who is winning for you?
Sister Fia, I will say we've recovered grounds a lot. Yeah, I mean, we are not in this for nowhere occupying the space. But we've recovered grounds a lot. And I'll say we are very comfortable where we are now in the campaign cycle. And I can assure you that by October, November, come back and ask me this question and I can give you a definite answer about where this election is going. But
they only definite answer.
This one I will not give you a definite answer. I have an idea where we stand.
Of
course, delegates, your hand campaign. So we are not going to lead anybody to think that we are comfortable in anything. We still have to work hard. Delegate, food soldiers, friends of Baumia, USA, across the world, across the globe. Campaign. Let everybody do the retail campaign. And I think that by October, November, early November, come ask me this question. I'll give you.
Okay. Who do you see is leading? When are you likely to go to the Jubilee House?
Alan Chamatin, of course.
Alan, the open here better because if you look one can say if you look at the numbers in the better make a first round at them, second round at them.
First round. Oh, first round, Neddy. Say, see, a case, many dispassionate.
Yeah, dispassionate between NDC and NPP.
Say a comma NDC anymore because in the Ashanti region, NDC, NPP for neither so. NDC would increase in vote margin. Apart BC, Alan Chapatis will be making inroads. And when the Ashanti region is touched, it is to their disadvantage. And on a risky for them because regions be obviously the NPP wouldn't win. Greater Accra win. Northern regions they be a better shared. And no coming Abia Osha Nano almost
not if the NPP for nearly do.
Yeah. But that is just.
But the other regions, no, Savannah, so Mahama leading in Savannah. Because I heard Mahama region.
Still, no matter what Baumia has done, Baumia is still not popular than Joe Mahama in the north. And as Washa, the northern region brothers and sisters, almost this emotional attachments to the NDC because of many reasons. The Hajj village, a Rollins Adarman and Momunya, sir, you see, almost Ankayan. And I had to say, Ashanti region for the donor and so what that hatred for the NDC, not because of John Mahama Bolivia, but because PNDC era and say atrocities because cause in Tina. Abaya Abaya Scar Bia, other be green dream say, oh, NDC pay or on pen this and Masha, and no, and say, yes, I have this idea, and the other say NPP being, the power, the party in power now, or be at his disposal. No, say if I want to play the devil's advocate and make us say, he would win because and the EC, EC Nema or yeah, will be a complaining. NPP sees nothing wrong with the EC, no activities. Be our it tells you
like that.
Emergency meeting, but the fact that don't say so doesn't mean that they don't have issues with it.
It's not interesting, say over the period. Party or by Mubiano. What is Russia? Party or by
the politics achieve the outmost air trend. Party no power, they make less complaints about the commission than when they're in opposition.
That is the fear can Simbi initially said. The way the NDC has been lambasting the EC, and no crowd also doesn't give them a good will. Say even if the EC no crowd person or BBA, obviously we are they are on their neck, And the way NPP now cool, I say, oh yeah, they're moving in answer. Psychologically, Ubiti should be when they say I said NPP for they are always gentle on the EC and the NDC has been very harsh on the EC. They said even if the EC intends favoring somebody, definitely in because
but the EC cannot favor anybody. In fact, the elections are won at the polling stations. EC cannot favor you.
Mr. Statement, I have problem with that statement. Said elections are won at the polling stations. I said, my name and I will call election. Na ebia will play negligence kakrabia because he will play negligence in Intino. Say a go to his disadvantage that will sure. Even though the people voted for him, the will of the people can be subverted because Nanaya played careless. We should have a system.
No, that is why more party agents or into which carelessness.
But sister, if you have some of
a lot of checks and balances in the chain.
Yes,
the polling station be a party for or more representative. So number one, there must be no carelessness on anybody's part.
But what I'm saying is that
number three, the electoral commission officials were number four. There's also a coalition of domestic election observers. Number four, they are journalists. Number five, they are international observers. See, there must be no negligence.
Regardless of the EC by itself should be able to conduct a free and fair election for everybody.
And I mean about that is how it's supposed to be because you are talking about her. Again, Afarijan didn't say that thing in a vacuum. He made that statement because he realized they said people were complaining. He said election rigging, elections they are won at the police station. He said, oh yeah, Kokwasa will be placed. I believe that we should have a system.
Microphone. There's something wrong with your microphone. To fix your microphone or not.
Semino ko election
na me call us no my word pa mujina so ate.
Semino ko election na because elections are won at the police station now. In inference the person me say Semino na ya wasare API we na so 1 2 na konfo ko we na. Konfo no we na because na ye careless. We should have a system where even if there is a negligence on the part of the other, the system will check say that's what I want to say. Because
but those systems are there. Those systems are there. And over the years, we've been perfecting the systems from say a black no photo ID card to aba to say a photo ID card to aba to say a fraud box near to aba gum to say a transparent box to say a biometric. The system is there. My point is say no matter the perfect system, till I intro no make America system even America broach am way. Donald Trump because say there was rigging because a mail system no to aba. People were send the mail, voting and returning. People voted for people. Everyone in Kokrani baby in comfort to my. So even the perfect system, which there is no perfect system, people can make mistakes. So the only so you the political party to play your part and not to blame electoral commission every day.
But
in the polling states, there are so many layers of protection. Any scrutiny at the amount. Easy game.
And then I make us be a electoral commission but so they are going to the only to end by saying of the three normal units, a Ghana food the best amongst them no is Alan Chamatin because election we are aside Bibiano, we are going to look for competence. And competence, I've said time with that number, say it's not what you said about a job. Competence is what you did with the job when the job was given you. What you were able to do with the job.
Very well.
What was the job that was given to Dr. Baumia? Dr. Baumia was.
And what job was given to Alan Chematin? Speak to that too. And now, did he deliver it? So candidate, speak to that too.
Alan Chematin excelled, and the rest.
He excelled in the 1D1F.
Yeah, we say debate here.
Also see NPP 1A.
Oh, maybe no, I didn't say. Omoniama may not make that so their campaign a free SHS no 1D1F. Those are the things I mentioned. And Alan Chamatin at the time I know free NPP no. 126 factories were in operation. Ken Oforiatta said the 1D1F has created 160,000 jobs. That was the media budget to read in the last year. These are not my words. So say Alan Chamatin engineered the coming of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. Now an automobile policy it is functioning. Now say Ghana has started recording trade surpluses instead of trade losses. Now say Alan Chamatin that Roma and then factories be an private entities are not moved to revive here. What else? The statistics are there to speak for themselves.
Right.
Okay. Very well.
Alan Germante was some NPP. Now you provide a platform, man. Meeting man in the India and the Buagana man. Yeah, that's not some. And then the DBI you never salute so a boy. And then the church NPP for no young how to use people to advance the cause of Ghana. And exactly that's what I'm telling you. So I'm not making about me now. A Jumapana only at Ashas, only ye emfanko ye pa and yes and ejuma why you go be nyina ye man is for iba or bra lanchamanta bre day in day night on that no pay investors no your policy no ye we no na adwin kese na eboa no and this for ba fire kwachi ye mpa no science bra be kan ho na ye mbo sa ade no ho ban ye let's consolidate it and move Ghana forward. Sister for electoral commission very quick one. I think sir electoral commission from so be baby omo hu bia no matesha omo so my investigation they've been very proactive. They've led out a press conference, and kudos to the NDC who said they are helping the EC be better off in itself. My own say it's a bad thing. Of course, I would say the control system worked here because the whole point about having parties there or doing the exhibition is to ensure that if there are any anomalies, it's fixed before the election day itself. So if the process was able to uncover such anomalies, I think that control mechanism have worked. It is not a bad thing necessarily. The way people want to project and make it look say we are confused. So internet just say BBR has collapsed. That is not the point. Actually, so our control mechanism have worked to help us uncover the anomalies. And the EC itself have gone ahead to investigate it and they are doing their work to fix it. And I think parties need now bring it to the EC, let us all help it. Send a election 2024. We are wouldn't say wedding now some diaba. And kudos to the EC for being proactive and kudos to NDC for also for pointing out anomaly. Obi also pointing the please speak up and report to the EC. But then go and hey, baby, and just point out the issues, it will get resolved, and I think so we'll be in a good place come 2024 December. This is the family.
Okay, Mami na must na for to join more that you can stand by, you can also log, but this time call us so time. Friends, Jude, Mpacho, good evening.
It's a very good evening.
Yes, Jude. So from where you sit, who do you think is leading?
Who do I think is leading? I'm not subscribing to the
but some speak again and how do we need why do you know analysis quite a post enough? What do you see?
All kind of sad because people are paying attention to the peripherals, like the fanfare. No? That is not what campaign is about. They be American same way. Says that that's all shit, but I baby. Na said the monarch kind class A artist ejina so there and because they be about me akwa na elections but
to be fair this election them say you two musicians in bio
I can but say ebimo etimi chain ebimo and the crown there cuz
incumbents for no usually they have more funding
and if you analyze campaigns and I say they only based on those things they know because they be about me and but them person catch and conforming says that campaigning is not about social media. I say, yeah, I will admit, you need resources to say NPP for resources, and I say NDC for resources or more. But at the end of the day, yes, so yeah, kakra Alan. One thing I like about Alan Martin is that he's very strategic. Very, very strategic. Campaign, cameras you need stage, you need speakers.
Okay.
But campaign. And what's rough from campaign. We are talking to the people. We are speaking to the hearts of the people.
But NDC no. What do you see between the two of them?
We need to because none of them is winning this election. That's what I believe. It is to NPP NDC that was our election because the situations and the circumstances are different from all previous elections that we've had. And that they be a say, oh, your friend is saying NPP for 6 million, NDC for 6 million. This time, the circumstances are different. The situation is different. And previously, we've not had a viable alternative. Tembiana and Kofo underestimated the impact and I said the influence of Alan Chamaten. Na and me and I now person de Alan compare Dr. Indum. I respect Dr. Indum very much, but the stature of Dr. Indum and the situation that persisted when Dr. Indum contested is not the same that persists now. Ofa Ghana 410 6 Bekacho say ya bre MPP NDC. That is not what pertained at that time. But your meanings are that in itself creates a different vehicle for this election for Alan Chamaten. So I didn't. And Alan Chamaten is not your ordinary independent candidate. See, if NPP, meaning penny monarch say or your communication institution or Kasapa or ya them bonus nabaso. But see, if NPP, it will not NPP, New Patriotic Party, mean kind of nice personal party. They be a status accounts as a reaction.
NPP is a done in a nice personal party.
Of course, as done in a nice personal party. And none in a nice personal party. And yet, Alaji Baumyan a running mate for, flag bearer for NPP, to be honest.
Nothing that no, personal party, Baumyan running mate. And Baumyan running mate.
They may not make a man on the phone. Mrs. Sen Kenya, Nanes personal party, and Kenya Baumya and a flag bearer of NPP. This NPP about flag bearer and Nanes personal party. Kofo party na a wohono. I may a member of Kofo party no. In you will be.
Let's Kofo party and one about me running mate, Nana.
And now within 16 years. Also, sometimes no. I wish one day we be in time. Nenki, I analyze the reason why I'm focus and Alan contest the Kufuado and the number so and I can when Alan echo a super delegates pageantry. And but he was selected as part of the 5. I'm very almost Alan Elusu election. Election Ben Alan Koyo Lucy. The only more contest election here, Alaji Baumia and Canada Japan. Alan did not contest in that election because Alan foresaw what was going on. And near my be a name in Alan Chamatin kind of thing. But near my Alan whom we are into a free race no. Mr. K, Mr. And And Alan who yeah. But
I'm correct to be so first round on the
yeah.
And I
So
already
the
know they can.
then you have a catcher sister and we are
having interest in Jonka.
yeah.
I only need interest in what Jonka.
You can
I wish that we had the time to analyze that, but you know not yet. And it's when people compare and Nema SC in the past. Now we assume that because previous elections, NDC means 6 million, LPP means 6 million, and that's how it's going to be. Like Monarch said, see extra parties now. Maybe a card-bearing member of NPP from Bekwan constituency. Yeah, card-bearing members. Yendru 1 million. And I said one thing that people are even not paying attention to is Madi chairman for a chapter of NPP before, but I am supporting Alan Chamate. Meaning current.
What defecting now? What free NPP? No.
Many media may menim or more or moon your menim no.
Dawson. Okay.
But made a member to what my position may get chairman be resign a yache. And a Macassa made the Alan Chamatina may support no. Or more watch can say because a lot of people have also defected in their hearts.
In their hearts.
Ballot anymore. It is a month for Casse and NPP 4 6 million and then this was 6 million.
And yet better was saying this.
It is not true. It is never true. It is never possible because majority of the people are sympathizers. Say they will see kind of now Casa will begin in a meteor. Was it John Mahama or affable? No effect. People pay attention to certain things and near my gun of 14 as a 12 and if you say, oh, said that deep polar, you'll be surprised. Even the undercurrents of politics, I to say religion, ethnicity, in the kick.
And I think I spoke about it.
But once again, it will play a major factor. I didn't know what they say, about me, and I'm sorry them. So he's doing a almost strategy on my fan, and I understand the strategy. They say, about me, your friend, a doctor, Mahmoud Baumia, Alaji, cry a year from. When was the last time who said Baumia was in a political strategy? What I say?
A strategy to get the Christians no
Christian vote.
Because one who say Christians not Dawson.
It's an undercurrent of politics, and it works for them. What I say? It is only when you know, but what they are not even say. Now, Alan, they only those undercurrents need to be play to his
advantage. Okay, very well, Jude.
So,
Mami now say.
The me can say, "A million and a area with this manusim." Or say, "And about me, I can't say we arrest the dollar." He was joking. It was in jest. Yankoso ni joku sa. Inti Ghana yebekoso ni joku sa. Ne bibia ni joku. The Alan say or catch him on say on the opposite move from stability to growth to resilience then to prosperity. It is time for us say ye big giant. We should stop surviving and start succeeding. They be a build foundation. They be a build foundation to that bang you be see dino. Alan many will vote individual votes no. Say the monarchy kind of say no. Election will be our 0 and a synonym. And so we catch up say we are leading and we are winning because of fanfare no more yana. To say be a political party. I'm first a friend of political parties and then go for say a good party. So we can say the minimum Kotoko NPP and a Manchester United. Kotoko NPP Manchester United NPP and yet your friend say you a good day and I say
you know
individuals and Alan Chamatin will be the next president of Ghana as the first independent candidate, just like it's happening in Benin.
Did you see Alan Bay creating history as the first independent person? Obe shaky tables no. Okay, good evening. Obe be send you message. Them say, "Oh, photo. So Ofake is here, yo." And them say, "When you have found this, Erica, someone send this message. You say Ofake is here, yo."
Still, if you again,
you.
Me cheer for me cheer. Nana yaw. Any monarch, Stefia, monarch or good, the communication is good. But my advice, you say, or communicate here. Last time, obe can be. Say, maybe source ma. Ekachen says, "Some people why any say oya omokeka." Say NPP, any say minority na a leading party. Okay, obe can be sir.
Oh,
what I can say, Adana NPP ama akeni en leading yama.
Yeah, I'm casting.
Yeah. Or a bigot or a tribal bigot. I'm can say me big times na me. Still, if you are the same thing, or better advice now, they say maybe or did Dr. Baumia say or a Muslim Dr. Baumia Orera sorry obi say you so a Muslim and I say or a Christian so a some of kind no Edison Koka because if you are Dr. Baumia no wama who send mame na okwa sorry Christian ni papa ko ware no na osesa e ba Muslim waka chere say ni nuanom 17 emu 9 ekwa sorry Christian emu 8 a Muslim Dr. Mahmoud Bami as if you muni ma ne bra ye sofo
ne bra ye sofo nti ne busi upon ebo fanda dey fan
it's like say yawo to bibi mu say unuanom e be a Christian be a Muslim a she the kind of person Dr. Bami at stuff here your chief imam yeah stuff here odin 100 years stuff here odin 100 years Chief Imam did 100 years. Yes, if you are sorry, my software didn't start for the subon man. It's a monarch patch, monarch patch, Chief Imam, then is Anka. I saw no when a yana. I omunya sans them no sa.
Okay, what stick to the issue.
I'm sticking to the issue because also come here and you baby Dr. Mohammed Baumia Biofiba. Stuff here almost in Napo can send and Napo yes and Napo is a stuff here omunima election there Napo ya the neighbor for bibin trade Napo by stuff I mean catch up. Napo some no kind Napo is right. Stuff here say monarch minim so minim age or stuff here na or you be na friend Nana Drogo not all went
Nana Drogo near the owu ye no
no wonti na oye
konfo HIV aduro no nyo no a
yes sabe omo anyi kakra no omu nim Nana Drogo rise ya ama state ya the whole Africa no obi anim papa no ama wonti benye edin e wo Ghana ama Nana Drogo kra benya HIV aduro benya ama na ni panyina Africa be obi akọ wonti ekwan papa ne defa so wuye no papa no wuye wie na wonti din call form enti say nipa no koye campaign ho a obetra mo kwan a wonti nka ba na
campaign message wapake campaign message
Sefia history dia san kanyo sakani san kan ya kan history
that mean to what then wapake
na na say na me trust asma na po kan na po is right also a chere youth no baby ana wonti na te aban bi ba ya obema wonti aka Sefia ejadie wise no economic wise kabana ka wonti beko stro but enamfe Nana Drogo ye ku ni ntino ema ekro no ba fom na kwa kono okoye campaign ono open vote enti on the campaign say na course ntimo aban we na ponye wrong odifo asare ye hu odifo asare that time be nyini no ikumase yade ne ball kechi o stadium ya twe na sin na yenim dia esiye so for am akwa yenim enti so na poka we a oya right so okay
it was when to the so anya say buga na
Sefia say
when Zanya
enye no matter campaign when obi atem asema esisi ya na poko e oka e je so oboka so na po e wrong ti eye fa ni pafo from na yes sanapo na po sa na oka na say asisi omo Sefia mami ko ni on your canasem into wa we jama ho jima ho so we are drunkard now we jama ho is up to you o kan so am obi
okay e was say we do
attach our obo obi din
na wa fa ke What this is now Ghana. I said that number 2
only also being a drunkard. It's one more be a din. As also would you too so I'm more be din. So Bobby din dia come in the first person I come about condemn. We said no, yanka one can say come condemn no, but one more be din there. Fine, what you mean Jima Obi? Stefia me comment almost research ni outbreak. Stefia you know what NDC for research na almost research no. I'm sure Yara Maham, I'm saying, where not the man, no, why research who research, no, because if you how come say, what's the research? Research for what? You go back to doom so, young go back, and as I say, as I'm sure not Ghana for 2 years, I need to who's cano. I don't know come back. So if you are me can say,
one in town to Kebina. Oh, light no go do more what you want. One is about your good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
And I'm so okay on our motion center and I do. But you are opening.
Obey day. I'm say now where of a K left it no, and then I'm pessimist starting here.
Okay, it was money.
If you say, I think say, what crowd can say when it comes to politics now, there are a lot of Pachomami position me camera and I say, when it comes to politics now, there are a lot of things here. And yeah, said yeah, petty kwana sometimes, you know, eba. There are sometimes the be politicians no mutimi throw and near makakrato to test the waters. Just said the other political parties, you know, ombetimi I take advantage of it. And young friends said Napodie, you and I will agree, say, and yet the right statement. But a factual statement and no make it.
Factual statement will be the kumu and Kofono Bomudino.
Also a factual statement because Sofwan Wako died in 1990.
Sofwan Wakudi, I know, say he died and
Obo Sofwan Wakudi, and no ball, you can say, or comfort, you can say trouble. Why be no bone? One more DBM, but these were two factual cases. So what he tried to do is to bring our attention to history of the party now. You knew more preno NPP as a party knew more preno.
You see, the difficulty is I understand all that's a history, but is there any clear evidence say NDC as a political party had any stake in the death of Nkofowe? There is no evidence to support that.
Pacho, sister, if you ask me question, mommy answer. Pacho, so many times you ask a question. Adentina nana do buy what 8 years. Say. Can you point till the ubetimi emphatic say nana don't go betima dia wo kanana. But you always ask question. Say, I didn't think another government what 8 years. 1 year wait, especially when it comes to corruption.
Because he promised that.
Good. But Nanado, who as a lawyer, not as somebody who's here law, you also accept to say Nanado entimin kwa chinipa emfanin jina court. Even when you will be court to Krana, you need the evidence to back your case. And it's a ninano. Ya dream yes, and yenina dia. So ubusame question where ya ubusame say dia. That means that you cannot also fault Nanado if corruption fight also fails. If this question
we cannot fault him when there has been an attempt. Judicial process, no. That's you're not guilty, but there has not been any attempt. That is where the blame comes in.
A lot of cases are court. Even Sisi the party. Yes, Sisi the party. You can say Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Okay. Because Sisi the party, even before I court, present statement, I trust that nothing will be found against you. How will you, the president, who is the head of the nation, only push good governance? So we don't pronounce judgment on a matter before the case is heard. But they have to pronounce special prosecutor. But I mean,
sister fear or the court no issue statement. No one can say a court no yenya no or say minimum. I can vouch for you.
Openly, this is not easy. In criminal case, and this is a criminal issue. Openly, criminal case doesn't have to do with character. Only come in as a mitigation issue.
Doesn't mean
holy water.
No, and your argument is the same
no,
thing.
criminal case is not about character. It's about character only comes in when a person pleading mitigation. What I say? But criminal case be opening trouble. Your offense be corruption. Assume stealing. Work for a money seeker. These are the ingredients of the crime. Oko quarter. And once a prosecutor they will be A, B, C, D ingredients. Simplicity. And to win the money due process here opening trouble. When you for due process, you do not determine the case before due process is done.
Many okasa, a young man Sando say you are speaking to an illiterate.
Oh, now
I'm only trying to bring your attention to something. We are all educated. We are all educated. But what I'm trying to point to you is say the mere fact the president says many way Juma na minim say obeye ebia at the end of the day you'll be exonerated. It does not mean say the president has called special prosecutor to stop investigation against.
Absolutely, it doesn't mean that.
At the same time,
now what you saying that's what it means.
Hold on. We were talking about case here. President Niyasia Obide or no Sicilia the party or no if a report to Obisu Obia and Sika. Or no report to Obia and say government in Aqua, your friend is saying investigation Aquachin is saying where we are by Sika. That's not the case. One no report to a Maobi. Police say you are Misika. And now you are Misika Abada is a 1 million. Then the whole Ghana people. No, and I'm just saying, say, one more report to and a journalist acquire court reporting. Ababeka say, one more report to say when you seek 1 million. And where did he get the 1 million from? This is the case.
And is that a reasonable question? Where did she get the 1 million? Is that a reasonable question?
No, I'm just saying, a reporter. The issue came from a reporter.
You see, before special prosecutor the case, no. Lawyer for BBF said there's a prima facie case. There's a question that arises that must be answered. And that question is a legal question. That is why the case went to special prosecutor.
Good question now. I am only telling you where the genesis of the case.
In fact, so I know the genesis of the case. I'm saying, criminal issue bar because of the influential position of the president. And the one in town that say, oh, me would give said the judicial process in the fan is different from president because of the
on your own statement.
A prima facie legal questioner. The president may not comment because it was so in the process.
Let us assume.
Remember another example. And funk of 4 times because this is really completely irrelevant. It's not really issue. But President Rollins, you can't say quality grain under President Rollins. Oma who say, company ne free brochure Mr. Scotting, called everybody a for Sikato Beduamo, Abeime. Shraj for and Oma and Nadia, the Dobby they complain, come as Shraj. Shraj for they've seen wrongdoing. When President Rollins himself issued a white paper. Say, on one conforming just a president, the same NPP people criticize President Rollins for even commenting on Shard report and allowing the court because Shard report had recommended prosecution. Now you are saying the president all right.
What I'm trying to say, based on this analogy, did President Cancer Rory's case, on no issue, did this stop strike from say almost finding it say wrongdoing human? No, and stop. So the whole case, proceeded and a strike finding almost based on the statement.
In fact, Rollins Assembly came after Shraj report.
The
issue of stopping doesn't come in neither here nor there. But this is not our issue.
Good, me patron, mami, just a minute or two, mami.
That is why sometimes they say, "Oh, Papa, Niema, we say, because now I know the real time."
Because I raised in a pot here.
Changing facts until the point still remains a judicial process. Open. Me respect also respect me. Baby, I can't tell they condemn me person me so also now they are calling. I'm talking like me person me first obi illiterate. Have I said obi illiterate?
Okay,
but
that's
change the facts. The fact of the matter is president is the president of the no open tobo. Into tobo, I'm moderating to tobo. I'm saying that the president is the president of the republic. So
what do you say? What address? My address.
Tell me who speaks. Me let me cartoon says here. You can't change anything. But my point is, when the president as the commander in chief of the armed forces, and the president swears in, swearing in, no, can't be said. I shall ensure governance, rule of law. Not the case to call special prosecutor. He must allow the process to work. And for him to make commentary on the matter. Because any commentary never determine the case. I never call special prosecutor. Why should I set up office of special prosecutor? So a comment was out of place. That is the point. No defense can change that position of any.
I am not
explanation there.
I never said I'm defending it.
Process put in place by the system.
I never said I'm defending. I never said that.
Remember, use technicality. Social contract. It's your question, President. Your question is justifiably. And just will be on President.
The first thing I become a person, me withdraw my statement to where you say. Baby, I'm used to the irritate matter. No, I withdraw. I apologize to you on that.
Okay.
That's fine. The rest of it today, I maintain my position. But one day, I withdraw that. Me pacho, the other person may come back. Just short. We were talking about Dr. Baumia issue to say or call on the press conference, whatever. All the issues were raised. What I think NPP I think refinity okay and say we are building systems and sister you and I will appreciate say even when Obama came to 2009 he said building systems are critical in African development than anything. And you build a system, but the system that you need, Ebina, me funny say, Dr. Baumia Mumuno, a champion. For instance, when I look at more I look at few things about corruption cases. I'm no cry can't be see. For instance, revenue, ECG, per information 2022 report. It was a not yen issue near common called digital platform. Not a whooping 450 billion and omunya. But at the end of the day, na omudi core digital corruption no reduce a boama revenue increase to the tune of 1.2 billion. In a way, no say sika we in Quebec will be botomo from 450 million to 1.2 billion. So look at the margin now. A increase government say ECG revenue. The second part, National Service Scheme. Na I enroll a NIPA 113,234. Our National Service Scheme as of 2022. Out of it, this amount na a NIPA no emu 14,000 and na a ghost anko for do omawuram. Sa enun sika etimi sebu omano was also na to the tune of 1 point and also the material 1 point hold on. No say 1.2 billion sa.
Okay.
Sisters,
Then
we are
return not to open here. Obi soon can say the opening. By the way, digitization under President Kufuor, there was digitization. A cleaning of ghost names. President Kufuor started cleaning of ghost names. I was a journalist. I covered it. ECG digitization. Me Sakumono NTAC. ECG meet was digital. And you want more digitization. Sometimes everyone man, you should be factual and you should be fair. Now I'm going to tell me no yeah. Me Sakumono NTAC estate will be him. Go on, go digital long ago and I'm to me 12 that digital. Me better now come to 3. ECG ni nyina digital me to me you know online nti chale adebu ono ma oh yeah no ma monto mobo why monto mobo Edmonyam for good evening.
Evening sister Via unim yempeni for yi omwan omose na sen youth ni muade no onim yewra atachia o your campaign na what man make comment say Montuma economists na the onum sane de Montuma. And tis a youth na me to na me comment say every one say ba definitely election so NDC and NPP omu bako and a berry anya Mahama President Mahama ebe Yoruba umia nti mu make you comment bisa now me met war na betete sa free mama Yoruba Mahama kojina plan ja Toronto ene ni aketwa enti sa 2016 Yoruba umia na ma sa name calling ne those are in jayo because Emma campaign here issue based on mounted stage and our young seminars now member intellectuals and a bit Emma Ghana Fonya Nimware Semu say and we don't know 1 million vote to DBT Mahama 2016 no
okay
and Yoruba Napo Baumia Iwaba the entire Nanado de Baumia by Senko or man or the task man say on by economy and Baumia lectures or lecture in was based on the economy. And even will be glad to my Nanado because of Baumia. You run a poco jina, yeah, Anna, your mamma ba obeja free SHS. Anna, Yanko Sumo, yeah, or NPP, Yamina, a boy. Sister Fiamia me say me for 8 years. Minya Jumanye. Now back at them say Yakokum NDC. Akokum will be a war. And Anadrobo said ye traditionalists are Medeyade. Me Pajumaya was ye Obia Yakokum no. And yeah, Sema, this policy, one district, one factory, and a 24-hour economy, Yoramama, a Kabiti Mama economy, Nejina, these two policies. See, I can see the tools and so I'm managing here, sister. Unemployment issues here, and because one district, one district by 200 and something. A Bianca factory or now I employ will be and unemployment association Rena and Katunja. No platform for Namo Meki Namo to 2D now Nema instance say a bed address here, you know. Now Yajan want to war and I will motor or your down flu yan sound quay a chibi and I assume Yatoma Mama Bima. Now Yasan could do so. No, it's a say sister me to me.
But I know the issue. I know the issue based. Nipane can say, maybe I want to money opponent challenges nearby and the opponent best baby. I know the issue based. I know the attempt did.
I know my but normal situation. I want youth unemployment. Even as a last month,
proposal how to create jobs and I want to.
Or 1 million youth or coding the coding. yes, and a very take back, say, Yamamu 8 years, no, more than one district, one factory by 8 years down the lane. I can't trust you. And when I, Mama, so the Abba say 24-hour economy. What the about me say, and then Mamma so me got to Mama, say, or not so bad. Obey me, I implemented 24-hour because sister, the youth are in the house looking for jobs. So, and those name and Yakokum will be granted.
It's more using the sentence and family, and you're not more heavy to about.
And family crime, I do man, I may buy because 8 years, what wasting me, and who pay you, man, was a human, I may know one. You try me, Senate. Me etua tax ene napo e de buy ni etua tax issue in bank account up to now ene obi a youth only bank account only tax number enti ukoye men company say temporary job will be a ube say along the way ni asan akoka na akatua ne mba na wasan go back to square one and then so ni emre ne kwa na ko ni panyini US man or man or original system here.
Okay.
US man now one
US money doors until I walk out and you US man.
Conversation panel menu na do mobile Alan nipa ne
Baumia friends of Baumia na
yeah, friends of Baumia. Me catch them say on country ne Ghana NPP for ne say Omunjai say NPP for Omunjai say we na obetimi ne ba omi aye adwuma anti na omunyina support pomono eya identity muba eno nti na 2020 omunya hang parliament no eho wanchi almost omo Professor Jamba for hunafo omo abronya say chinchina o de ne be ko o na betimi ne na nado aye adwuma for a record omututia wanchi ama NDC NFR seat no enti omunya say ona betimi ne ba omia aye adwuma na bom ana ya ema yaudie ne mateme ho eti say Yewura Cynthia Morrison also call for independent no ba ko suhum MP and so sa eja NPP say call for independent enti omunja na obi anye omonfo mo anim de mra na omomboa na ma oman nye na amafo bre wo man nim especially we the youth yenya adwuma anye ti ye obi a obeba be ma ye nwa han ye na ye ntimi untimi anda what we university what application bebre ukọ ba bia yi unya adwuma anye na wasan betena maame a oye oso no enti ukọ gina ba bi ka se
ukọ ya na obai yo yen mo nyambo mama na atepa wanu hwam youth no mo na mo ye youth no 10 million no ka no se omo these are the issues they want to hear job creation enye they politics no enye ho Abna good evening
Efia net say
aduma kwam pacho ntio
mo nyamfo me the summit me na mebe kasa o kasa wiye enye na December ni dru a okokrumuti no fakosi alanche mate no meye president because ono na address issues na wo kan ye no le bia me betina ha me say vote for Alan, vote for jobs unya jobs a wonkotena ma me so wa kan se said o ma me abra hwe wa bi university na ati 8 years I don't know how even you are surviving into the obeba or say or the adwuma bra mo na na so vote na muja party politics no and the infant to baby na is a fear me can be big to be abrante so bi ba na se wo kan asem no ye oh nyam number che wadwuma no atwitwa so because no because next time obi ba o say there was civil law and there was criminal law when we are talking about
omo friend no to omo ntiate no no omo ye na you are biased criminal law you treating it different
civil law regulates a private right of an individual. Why criminal law no a cases a violation of a criminal law such as obisi and basic state funds that is criminal. It is a president, Bejono Cancer, the character cry. It doesn't come under the criminal law because we work with facts. And you're civil. Why are you talking about this? Sometimes don't entertain these people. I mean,
no, I'm not quite to say Momo Casa baby, but this is just Obi area of study. Yen say, one like the criminal cases near ingredient of the offense here, work of our A, B, C, D. Your ingredients, nah. Yen ko asem ni criminal make you comment. You are influencing the case. Cause you any packet wa.
Now, only my dear friend perjury. And yeah, meant to so be pacho. And I was like, I was watching you going back and forth, and then I said, wasting people time, which is not even something that we are talking about.
Because I was disappointed so because if you don't speak like you are speaking to illiterate, when you have an illiterate or literacy issue, this is just a matter of say. This is because some will be illiterate, so I said, Onyimi, Obi illiterate to crown or answer.
I am illiterate when it comes to the area of sewing. I have no idea what sewing is about. It wasn't illiterate or sewing. I accept.
Maybe I used to say, but I'm saying, say, what player complain, but you see, who say 1 million shall won't pass it. So a special prosecutor say there's a prima facie case. I'll see answer a then it's cannibal. Read the account where you might be now, and these are all traceable rule of law war. It's any
and for president to make that statement, it's going to influence the jury, even the judges on the cases, because like you said, he's the sitting first man on the public. And I all can't say to who was some no be there's fear intimidation just by his statement. And until I'm going to say entertaining these people. Because and somebody entertaining. Now your consunya muna kwaya de wa chire mu. Yenua ba ko no so a okasa free oni muna Nanaponsa ono so wa be chire na adwen. You see, one thing I like about what he did today is not doing insinuations. Where the fact is, whether even say any favorable to them, he did say that. Now, when you go to the other side now, so we share NPP for Nibia, and my brand to your Kasako, or insult. Uno be a discussion. Not only any valuable thing to say, they resort to insult. It's me we yes and me who baby a gentleman with me wasting my time crowd. What if I only wa drain and I'm fanko? Send a bebo wa mofana mofanko yemode. Asem na aba na ye nyina kebin eye o mining puntu nti na ye nyina ye say adaje betina haka ya se yes any bibi o. And na holiday wa America is nipa da kora so ntimi nda. Obi a wo bibi ye e na wo sufu se wa asem ba ko abeka wa no besi no unya nipa ba ko pe. Ene wo ye adwen ba ko a asesa eniema. Because on also no betimi akasa na asesa nema enti ne say ya da je ne abetina ha yesi omukwa akoto aba obi a the manifesto aba. I've always said time and time me support to ranch Martin because of 2-3 things I want the GTP. The rest everybody can also take it. 1 is industry, 2 agriculture, and 3 our behavior and attitude towards work as Ghanaians. Me a key to me. Because obi background so be see a dan kama our behavior and attitude no yentimi maintaining a man say. And for somebody to sit down and address these issues a chere me madwin mu say ebeye emmoa amempuntu aba your friend is saying omanim abrantie ne kasa no kan say tama ba umi aba ye na wo say dollar no obe arrest ni eyi ne a joke Ghana for more amuti then they are still joking. Because we say from Nkrumah time nya ye dollar no da bi e kofom e koso e chese e koso e tiba from na dollar no e koso nti e cedi ni de ye ntimi nya yi se otimi kansa na o maka kire se cedi no mu ye na o ma akase sa time no mu kan no o economics o no so asu economy say ya me pa chodi enti na cedi no eba from because 85% of our product are consuming our country is imported. And when you do that now, who export here and also do sika eko jaso. Now when you have the inflow of dollar in your system to offset, if you are not doing that, there be a bebre. To pick a cry.
Okay.
It is so biba now the name me say we should look at your industry, right? Your local production of a name beer, ye betimi di sika hyem small scale here and there omo ye na betimi di ye come market and we can like send a lot of our products into the world market, which will remember this inflow of dollar no abranye na now we see won tia se na be ye digital me digital, like I've said, I'm not against that. The code now can, I'm not against that. 24 hours no, but you have to have the fundamentals.
Okay.
Fundamentals no way. Okay. Let's interrogate these things in any base. The obedi buy and they're applicable now. I didn't say ebeba youth no na ni banye adwuma ye. Obi so
very well established. You very well established.
I afford to stay home 3 weeks. Come na 8 years.
We a businesswoman. Pacha me now I say, Baba, good evening.
Good evening, Sister Fia. Pacha me chow no TFO nyina.
Yeah, just on Pachentio.
Sister Fia, who say they buy a Kaya same street near call because who say if free Kwame Nkrumah ABC na me no kase. Only your philosopher be a friend of Albert Einstein was say intelligence is the ability to cause a change. Not just so we see who will be said you will be who nim dia as I said utiminya nsesaye as also and sister fia me no kasa nyina yes see 120 wine factories Mahama buy also no a nation builder wine ko for buy but still unemployment among the young people is about 100 and so many percentage. Oh, young boys no bias when you jumaye. Ye university now, no job for everybody. And yama sebio school crampon sebio eya yenkwasi asem. Sister Fia, da ben anka abrochire akwantu ehun beye so important since obi awako school dem. Eso so na Ghana ufre university student na oka chen so onya university no nkwa abrochire obeji atum. Because amanyo for no sebio omu ninim dia ye dis saniema. Oma ko school to say them see a woman academia one. But and I've been saying said Nanadu administration is going to be an indictment on this man, on his legacy, because of Ghana and when to me Mabruna Jumanye. And only big problem. If you me patch me more example be YEA, where a fact. Who say YEA Zoom Lion creating in 2006 no and na YEA for be recruitment no mo de Zoom Lion no mo create or cleaning the whole Ghana in their books you know Zoom Lion has got 45,000 employees in their books obia say tuanika pay slip omo ye de ma YEA na say ma work be 850 a month. Unim DSC. Sasika we no de mo no 250 Ghana cedis. Say no kura 1 year no muntua e. Omuntua ma san krofo no. Ena mi busa say aban wote ho ena sa corruption we ekoso ho no. The money is over 22 million pounds sterling. Abusumi bi omo de ma Zoom Lion so on fantua. As also, Shasanya Ghana is a fiacra. Bola pa Kumasi bola. Miko tamale walai talai. Bola. Efi. Hey. Where who are Sikani at the moment? In Tekufu Adam Pacho, me person buso and ye be am sred. Cleaning no Sikani at the coy now. Amun say, Yen fast, I need punish or munya said Jumano. Not the Biamutia Sikan, one check as Kennedy. It's one indictment on the president. So when to me and share. I'm protecting public purse. I'm as I'm a forward sebi more bro for when you music fan to aduane Sister Fia Ghana ye mobo ye betra ani e kan sembe bre ye hwe uko Ghana reality people are not working hwe galamsey dia ye river pra you see in the next few years ye be import to so abeka ho obiti what now we have export trade deficit or whatever because we are producing to export. Where is that lie coming from? And trouble no
and shada anya lie, but it's only in the extractive industry. But you know, and come masses no. Oh, gold, you know, gold no pay. And come masses no. The other sectors are not doing that well. Yeah.
Exactly. Sister, if we are importing Mako, JNA, now we catch them say trade surplus. Are we joking here? That is a fact. And the young people now, yes, we say we are also not intelligent to cause the change. Because as I say, train some 500 CDs. Near their tuaba. And this problem is going to be there
for a long time.
I will live and die and go. Ghana will still remain as it is, or it is going to get worse. Because Napo, it's for one reason, and this is a fact. There is a fact. Oh, sister Fiona, sister Fiona, me call Ghana, me call dinkophobia chima eko sremo. And almost offer Paul Boating or Bahase. That man is a smart man. On kind of credit or cosrim, or you cosrim koyes and yemeni bio. No kobuse busomo, what it will happen. No, nimbi that man knows who will win the Ghana election. But on kind of say, sister Fiona. Also, there's a friction between the Ashantis and the Achems as to who should be on the throne. And as I say, Achem for na babedi. Oma no puto. Omo teso. Oma transanti forso. No kure. Alanche Martin is an example. Oma pama. Oma yama alanche na ate. Ni buofu oko. Say Asante for your plan say. Say Bawomiaba in the next 8 years. Asante for kwen biaso. Say baba bediadie. Say baya Asante for baba bediadie. We have to get the vice president today from Menchia. Sister Fia, in the history of Ghana. So if you are Santimamuna episode di Ghana Konya, you have to come from that Menchia area. 131.
Because Kufo free Menchia.
Oh, that is a some bear honum. You have to be close there.
Well, I don't think that Ghana presidency should be limited to in a way free Menchia. And Kufo near you might get. There are bigger issues for us to be concerned about.
That is what I'm saying. Oh, Sister Fia, yes, you've not been fair to me. Oh, we were transfer Kasa 15 minutes.
One 15 minutes.
I brought now back a drop was and one can fact about Okra and was solid coy. One fact. And
we want some because I'm serious in Kofoche.
And Saba Omiana Wabano. Washi Wagana. Washi. Because they can't create jobs for people. The creation of wealth, they don't know. Okay. Ghana, it will remain as it is. I just say young people no. Yes, sorry, I'm not say hey, enough is enough. Then we will rule our own country.
And that's what Chad nominate other people to say Alam also are trying to do to get other people to join them. Mr. Che, good evening. But you have to do more microphone, or maybe there's something wrong with your microphone. So maybe I'll tell you. Okay, almost connect to microphone. To them, I'm Uncle Pakusina or connect to microphone. Uncle Pakus, good evening.
If you have good evening to them.
Oh, you was a great.
We're trying to simple because there as I and paint, so I have to stop. I was about to hit the highway. I stopped so that I could talk to you before I continue.
Okay.
And make you comment about videos to be. Maybe I'm catch sure that if I come on your platform, sometimes I just want to listen to the discussions. I want to, see what everybody's saying. And then, but about videos to be. And Mahama mentioned, you made a comment whereby today about in Sumpunto. And you said that
I have the video.
Yeah, don't
I said political talk, and then the political talk, yeah.
Okay, and you're actually trying to justify it with science that is not even necessary and all that. Let me break it down. So the science of rainfall patterns, right? And there's been this talk about climate change and all that, where serious governments all over the world are making changes. Lifestyle, talking about how to manage plastic waste and all that. But we have a government for 8 years serious deforestation, serious destruction of our river bodies, serious destruction of our forest reserves, which of course in there, your forest reserves see on our normal rainfall. Western those days in Axim in 3-4 days, no shoot continuous. Why? Because they had the forest reserves there. Inti say Obi Banasoka there, Abanboninti, Nsupunta. That is where I'm coming from, because if Soyaban Papa in Kawan manage your forest reserves, no illegal mining. Yesterday, we shared video. In fact, this afternoon, I was so sad. River Pra, Obi, one of the sports presenters, also those days, you know, Woko Busha was a hatau keke, no, that's so soon been a one. Now it's not possible. We have people involved in illegal mining. Nobody is talking against it. Nobody is saying anything about it. The government of the day is aware of what is happening. But when young Hushe, I mean, me a layman, that's what we catch them there. Abanbun incident sunta, Mejatu. Into the Wakakano, a church shower will listeners now, they will understand. On a dungeon. Papa, your bay, I am there sometimes. I am a cadet. You know, your Ghana, one of our bush for the Biasa disabled, me assassin. UK free, you want to go UK when you assassin will be seriously. Them any casemi, I say any casa who don't want you illiterate. Or such a illiterate is like such a answer. But obviously, as some American Ankasan, on Tasi, these are the people that I call political stooges. A kind of stooge, what's I show on a roba.
They actually want to
Mama Kamasame in the week as amazing, Premier fast. Political stooges are some of the Nankasa can on task watch woman. No, what's on. The person doesn't even understand what he's saying. And you try to correct him. Now, or can say, or read as a Nankasa don't read Nankasa, Puna Nankasa, he was struggling. If you sometimes you try to play the devil's advocate, you and I know very well that these people, that is what they are doing. Attach your one of attaching.
Google no. Google.
What time these are the people that was sister no ben or becano. Say you be arguments unyas and pepebiaka. They resort to insinuations and insults and all that. It doesn't help. You start campaign issue based all of a sudden. In the year no monsa, in the year a day, in the year na obi could be 10 years ago. Of one. Into me then. That is where we need to situate the conversation. You need time for a year. In fact, you be Nipoka that attach and Ankaso could be here consing on one or bosom. On I'm trying to situate a conversation there. In the year consing, those things, those moral issues, it doesn't solve any problem for anybody. We want solutions. So come and tell me that I mean academic premisafa a catcher made them or catch do a demekas and I know in it does that, it doesn't matter. I do know when we see numbers more solution on no here. Some pembisafo, some pembisafo, some no on phone. Into one wobber, I know you are doing your job. Let them understand that them again can. We are not interested in one and all we want solutions. Give us the solution. If you don't have any solution, you have no business coming to talk to me. Thank you.
That's it. Mr. Chayan just after the way in the good evening.
Can you hear me now?
Me too.
Okay. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Say just a quick few points. Number one, one country of a case on your platform ways class prefect. No, I've been checking.
Unofficial class prefect.
On your class prefect, he's not the fatum of fact. We know his political alignment. He should come and speak on his political issue. Let others also come and speak their mind. He's not here to check who is speaking fact or who is not, because we know. All right, that's number one. Number two, if we want to talk about, if we are saying, sir, near Napoka any history, then let's go back to talk about the people who masterminded the overthrow of our first president. Because the killing of those people didn't sabotage Ghana's development. The people who overthrew Nkrumah sabotage our development till date. So if we really want to talk about history, to talk about why Ghana has become a standstill and has become an almost a failed state, then let's go back and learn the history and figure out who actually the people that actually masterminded the overthrow of our first president. If that's what we want to say.
And how about before Nkrumah too? Because there was also PDA. Preventive Detention Act, and people were also jailed without any act.
Yes, in all of those eras, those were colonial eras. We are talking about the era that we were independent, where we were leading and developing our country as Africans. Okay, that is the era that we're talking about. The next thing that I wanted to address is this. I've been listening to a lot of conversations now regarding our resources and how we are not meeting up, and these are things that we should be talking about. Cocoa Board has estimated over 900 tons of cocoa. Now we have only 400 tons. What happened? Why are we failing at cocoa production? Our leaders must be able to explain to us what has happened, why we are not able to meet these demands. Why is it that we have lands in cantonment being sold at a very this when I was listening to Nana Akomia this weekend, Nana Akomia even he himself was shocked that a land in cantonment was sold at $10,000. Cantonment, as I say.
And they have a commercial market.
No, but what we are talking about is that is not the true value. And the people who bought this are political apparatchiks. And these things have continued from time to time to time to time. And we are cheating the state. Because at the end of the day, no, I was mining or buying a sika. Yakwa kobo bisien minabo. Sika ne here. Says assassin yet ton one ni bossua. A buying a sika ne kohi. A buying ho. A buying chapadi. A buying ho. And all of those things also come with the property tax. Into which sa property no taxing in our all of this GPS thing that Baumia did and all of those things, they will become meaningless if we are selling these things at a devalued price. Okay. Because the price is devalued. Tax or bet you are not so bad. A bear devalued. And in Faswana was a buying some Faswana. Because we are talking about revenue generation. And all of these things are the things that we need to be talking about, because whatever government comes, now they are developing Ghana. It doesn't matter what you are trying to do. You will have to be able to generate revenue to be able to do all the things you're talking about. But if we are losing track of those revenue generation means and we are allowing them to go waste, then there is no way we can ever do everything that we are talking about. Okay. Then finally, NDC or NPP, ask yourself the things that you say and you argue for. If it was coming from the other side, will you argue same? Okay. What I'm trying to say is, say near king, say attach yasamo king, say MDC na car, would they be making the same argument? Say he just said it, he didn't mention anybody's name.
Okay. But it's also factual. So I'm more
yes. So that is why I'm saying, sir, for every political party, tell yourself whatever position you are in, if the tables are 10, will you remain at the same position? If you will not, then you are intellectually dishonest.
Okay.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So don't present yourself as, because if you cannot stand on the same position, if the tables were turned on the other side, and you're going to change your math on that side, then that means that you're also not honest to yourself. You're intellectually dishonest. So there is no way we can argue. We can make an argument, say, oh yeah, you're kind of one kind of, and I say near Napo kind of, because
we are headed towards.
Why do you want to deceive us? I don't you trying to actually. Okay. Mahama Kojina simple so no I can say a friend said Jack Toronto, where it is coming from. And this Baba Bekase Wambo Biedi. Look at that. So the exactly. So let them stop this whole argument. We are daft, sir.
Yo, Mr. Chairman, I say, what's your being in Mekuti and baby a free echo? Mr. Francis, I got to set up my so that we can patrol you.
So good evening, Obias. My mantem. The enemy person me bisani say Ghana time saying politicians and the campaign because vice president.
Anytime, time be able to me your campaign.
Yeah, but I don't think that is good enough because vice president wouldn't say on the Namnoya campaign the past 5 months, I was saying, just a 1 year Juma say he doesn't work. In the office 1 year Juma man.
I have not monitored, but
and
the Fourth Republic, sitting vice president, that's what they do.
Yeah, I don't think it's good enough because who now economic head and now sign in a campaign if you say a minor because so I'm sure there me NPP NDC no because take advantage to the Ghanaians and grow nipa who to me be far of mine for 8 good years want me and create any wealth to the country. What's about Kadia go? Nam says Anto Abansan from I don't think it's good enough. Omunjai Sabi a Kutia 7 now Kikao party ne rally near one aseno no omunka the umbitimi aye the amount of minor. No be ewo nyansa ewo nimdia or their back home. Because the way almost kasa there, to be honest with you. Enko ye cry to you. I obviously say running mate this guy
Dr. Pempe, Dr. Poku Pempe.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Fagana for necessary. I don't know. Sabi any school kwani ni nyanso. Ni pale bebre nyansa but omu nyu omanim. Enti onye ne opeso oye na hu se obetimi aye bibi. Na na da bia meka no. They are not creating no wealth to the country. And nobody from NDC or NPP know how to create anything. Omo be ba be tun futuro gu nipa ni sa no masa ba abetem 8 good years. Omo nya hwe. Enti uye youth now Ghana, this is what you have to think about. So but youth no so omo nyina so your man is car no akoto about their mom. To be honest, Ghana there we got a long way to go.
Yeah. I just think that sometimes we are unfair because both NDC and NPP and the Fourth Republic could be a bar or BB. At least for instance, President Kufuor my NHIS. So what I say, Mahama Baye, the biggest expansion in national health insurance scheme was happening under Atamils Mahama. They have not done enough, said a according to our expectation, but I can't say I think sometimes it's unfair. But Obia BB. Wow, a project, mama, but a particular Nigeria for jealousy, BB, but it's not enough. And yeah, one year, your standard no so high. And you must meet Ghana for your standard. Hey, yeah, sometimes a bar. And yes, no, homonia, I am here to need that. Good evening.
Yamishrao.
I don't know penny now, so.
Nyame gusu shira yen. I think say waka me question back unti mekomenim. Okay. We say obi eni ho a onye bibi. But eya na gina ne ewo no na wo hwehwe afiri nipa no. Enti me no de na me hwehwe afiri aban no so obeya ama me no may be different from de na wo so hwehwe afiri aban no so obeya ama. Enti ani die mu a mesre se ye nyina no yesua de free yen ho ye ba aya amuma ye ntoni down sebe ye nyina no obi ka ade tia obi a enye yende se de enye wode no the same thing ye kasa kire won we di anim no so no enye enti ani die mu mesre ye nyina no obi a nyame abono obi a wa adwene se woni ne communicate o woni ne communicate obi a wa adwene obi a wonyansa enti ye we aya na ye communication ne kono etoda wo akire na wutie bia ya na sebe ebia no eden kakra enti mesere ye nyina ye wompanimfo ye yempanimfo a ye baso ya ye sua de free yen ho no ani die mu a mo ma yemfa ebuo kakra ema yen ho na ye kasa no enkofom kakra ma ye de tosum ye miensa mafia atin say Ghana no nyame eye wadom tena hwa ansa na wo free ho recently na yenim say Ghana asase be pa na eni wura o Ghana ho maame
Ni nyina owura.
Sa. Enti ekufo ado na sabio na ado asase nyina ye ono nko ane dia ho.
David, Ghana says 2 lands ni individual lands, family lands kra na doso.
Oh, sa.
Ene musua sase, ena ankran sase.
Enti sa system no na wo Ghana. Enti me ko obi asase so a so oba be pam me ana me boa.
Langa to kwa na we mbeche tu na unte ya.
Wo dia me fa se langa de ye ne abrochirefo ya na create langa de beto asase ne to wa ne eja akohwe so mame ene create langa nso ye ba ye nka no kore no. Wo dia yan konkurase empo ye nkurase nyina no asase e wo bia ya abusua de ana me boa. Enti no se abusua pani ana wo hena wo ho ka se omma obi metu galamsey emetu gold asase ne so a obi na obetime si asase ne so. That's my view.
There be eno to the ho ye difference nkroma wo ho no. Nkroma pass law bi e fe the Minerals Act. Minerals Act na che se ejapade bi asase de ye wo dia. Ba agudie bi e wo asase na se. E wo asase nani. And I say wo asase ni mfimfin no. It is vested in president. It is vested in president for the people. Inti sa na nkroma ye no nti oye wo asase ba ye hu se gold wo ma ye o man ne dia. Inti obetimi atena wo asase but na minister no issue mineral license am obi so metu galamsey but oba wa e was so no ka
metiasie pa de wo ka no 100% metiasie pa ba eno no ye nia ye ma no kwayo ana meboa
ai
ye
ma no permit am wa betu
ye ma no permit eno no ye de ye ma no permit ba me no ye nyina ye ka ayi sanse minya ye si illegal mining
okay
yes, illegal mining na ye kan wanse. Me no ka say me free me framansie.
Ayo any when it ya I shall want munya sa mansie no mugo.
Me ni framansie ye wa asase agodo wo so. Me nua me di nachi wo hu ye sa de no a me kwaka kire se asase no se sa no de be ya ade ne de na ye nchemfo obi ade ma no. Wo jai because obusia pani wo ho abusia pani timi ntena se ye ne ya sa ase akoko wo so ye dua me wo so no wo hu nse no and to me that's my point and so na say ni nyina no just politicians no na there be won nim ya sabio I'm sorry say won nim no wo form kakara there be won kwa na ye ba hye won but won edi awufo no pa won edi awupa exactly and you know me mom kamenya enka ye ba won na ye nka sentia won me no me kasetia me nuam no won magai entini yen kasentie won na asase ne ye won dia no because won ya won say won dia ye ba yen ka hwe na nado ene ne ministers na ehun amane entini ehwo no memom dia kamenya ke be davert sa issue no akọ nsase wura no dukro ene hemfo no a ebusuan penifo na asase ne ye won dia no ye no won kasa ne me ani bere won so a maame wo dia market on the wall sa dia we nyina abegya my last point na ye nuaba no ye youth no mami I think say ye create enwoma bi ato won tiri mu a say ya anya careful a oman no bekoso ayesa because krom ha ye wo no me wie mi suku enye prime minister na kopa adwuma mami wa na wo beko akohwehwe wadwuma na waye ye ne ye wa kwantue akwantuo medwumadi a ye ne emaburu no wo wusu egu mama so president Kufuor so say adwuma ni ho no the same maburu ya ye be create adwuma no wase no wo gu adwuma no enti ye be create adwuma no a mo benya bia ye no empo wusu awie school krom ha even nursing ene teaching ne police kura no enya aban na kopa adwuma ne ma wo maame
wana akope
enti wawie wo nursing na wo so betena fi a prime minister won fa ono ko nim ba bia wote but ye de because there bia ye ba radio bia be bia ne Ghana bia ena maburu ne te ho ana aban mo wadwuma nye aban kreti aban adwuma me mom de aban aka dwuma ya aban de akra no kwa nya ne dia police teaching and o mu kura no kuro mu ananya aban de
But yeah, man, I quite say, Obia, I won't be no Kosukuria, I was a president and a quadruple Jumamano. And the idea and Nimudia when you penetrate Mukurana, and was so creative, Bino. Mammy, one creative you. Debbie, Mammy Cassamba Conchero. Aye, me wife, a mamma Jaco to share. Kurumha. You know why? When who my bakun, Ghana, Mammy, so a pamata de brewa. A chair the apamani. And no, one kasa a month for one kasa chipo, yes, and this is a command panel, then puma pomade no, ne ye the abra man for her. What create or no creating a jumon?
Creating jobs in being on
what creating a juma also so what if you so to ma mention the woods to say, Nanado, and cop be a juman famount, and son or could be beard. I was so sad, you know, ye from because a numa, ye creating a Ghana, you know, me, no me, and son, the same Mebunia and the good Jumano. And you know, one sorry, and compare Jumanye, and ya buying a pair Jumamobi. Me dance, mammy.
Your penny as we are dancing, sorry, good evening. Ma come on in your phone, huh? And then I'm all of you. And yes,
I holiday, and I am a child,
meaning to Abba.
I'm with the fresh news from Ghana. My tea won't come away. One, my main that was in my power. I know sometimes can be a little bit controversial, but some catch a Ghana point and say,
controversial.
But I drink, never be behind a book being people didn't take it, on their hearts. I think they in Ghana year in a year. Now, my tea never be jot some of them down. But my main started from Nyobia Mukaya. So what you be a Kasa? I can see, sir, they say, go remember some kind of clear about the status of the nation. Obi by or see, oh, youth in your Juma, any Juma. Yes, unemployment is still high. But if you only me, dream say, tell my NPP for a bar, Bemu. Not government was not employing nurses. There was a freeze on employment of nurses. There was a freeze on employment of teachers. Your bar, Bemu, not for about 3-4 years. Not Hanya anywhere. So we artisan, we my dear, we a tailor. And I can't be my winibi. And now I can say, can you not some women in any Jumanians and Jumaya? I go cramp when you cry in sisters, one of enough, and I'm bottom back a crop, and then no can say, you be an institutional moment, or with a chairman's son Juma. Into a better answer, or you just when you're Jumania. Then I have what I have so and I say, no credit and on person Becca.
About Penny so himself, even despite our intervention in us, still there remains a large number of people.
It's can say, oh, my be, but still, there's a lot more to do. What you say? Because if you compare maybe a feedback from Mahama Breast, there's been significant improvement. But you do the hold them back and also Muka. But now saying mobile and when I say, I'm in some intro. Me call Ghana and saying, I'm going to say, me figure bay. One of the things come my manager and they say, so I'm just watching this drip project. So last time me buy show me say, on say Mrs. Tao free event is movement. So yeah, you take creative jobs. I'm catching and say, yes, we'll be able to creative jobs. But the question is, you have to tackle the eminent problem first. If you know away in cross, a quiet before cross, what is the problem? Let's say no, say it's going to bring food to the city center. Perform. And now I can say all our district centers, more caterpillars, more bulldozers, more area boy, truck line, so I'm a Janino, Abacroom. And no name, I'm into someone, yeah. Minister say, it's not about social, and this is not the problem, is not about say, you want to create jobs, but how are you creating the job? What is the problem on the ground? And that is what we are solving. Mama Sanko maybe so. But I can't say someone so na Baumiana and incredible sermon and Oneka Papa and I say, Mamma Casamin show. Time Bible. There's a very profound story in the Bible. I'm friend the Good Samaritan. Obekai. Not Yanko Pompes who ye obia, obeting on name my answer, but I want to solve your problem. Now Obia or Yaren, and so why bet I solve that problem? We I didn't go yeah. Now you will be no see or chief priest. Other say religious leader.
Also for crab by
one. Also for obedo na go say or then otwamu koe. Aden what say Allah na fu say me asante we into mummy. Na go say oh nya asante we nya de to be po bi a obetina ya adwuma no. Yes, yeah. The pakwa be a full so bet my go hwa akomam ayi nipa full say a friend when bet my he didn't look at religion, he didn't look at tribe, he didn't look at educational status. He saw who could do it, competency. And na yeka in so bet now say on Alan say no asantini and yeah actually it's very pathetic to play such tribalistic what do you call it in this day of Ghana. And I am yes we need competence to move Ghana forward.
Yo.
You know, my friend I don't see what I mean some can at the back to say some you launched your manifesto about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm saying the Benya Monamoko NDC in the Cape Coast. No,
that's about the man NDC for Omodia. I can't catch on say NDC for another said I think them about free SHS. Almost yo first year. They say I'm almost yo no man there's so many problems. I just say so many problems. I'm manifesto. Almost you say yeah. Oh my first is I'm an CP. In case you have a tertiary level. I'm not saying we catch it's with you. Now don't put any year. Can let's say solve the problem no before you try to improve it. What's your goal? Say then another maybe free HSN. Yan twaso. When the move. But when I move say oh, but why you are they don't want to admit it. Now they are trying to play into the populace to try to deceive Ghanaians. But my last year about me. Go ahead. Oh, Baumia is leading, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Baumia is leading. Chef, says a Ghana for no. Oma who said Yasua and Suo and Yaswansa. But I say, Nina problems. But I saw Ghana for can say, why not when it's say no, it aligns where the world is going. What are solutions are they by Ghana Tumpong? Baumia is proposing a flat tax system. This is the first in our history. And you're a big rather. Yes, yeah. Internet NDC via 9 years and via 9. Where something revolutionary about me proposing.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So these are things that Ghanaians are seeing. Say, Papa, where the idea that the Ayasnonko. And the party has been very unpopular. There was a story that came here, but NPP is still leading. Baumia is still leading. Because Ghana for one said, Papa, we are doing on the ban. Very different. It's going to transform our nation. Okay, very well. I say, oh, you make to phones once CD. But if you're Chrome, I'm going to phone. I'm first kind of school. Even the telcos, exactly. I'm best with the phone because they want to use your system. Papa, I agree that it's money. What the Ghanaians want to Papa will say the radio the ban and then Alan I dream those times and I said Mahama what I say I buy way and I'm saying you and 19 and you to it's your mind Ghana and ambassador. No afraid with Bebena in your crowd for goose on afforestation. If you're not in your what to be paying. And then I mentioned to let's not speak about these things. Let's be factual. Let's talk about both solutions that Ghanaians need to move our economy forward. You've been there about me again. So next year saying so be it we file the taxes. You say okay, as I see who any 100,000 to be able to your free SHS. Who any 50,000 who won't mean you're not the one that's we have the data to be able to make those decisions. And about me
go ahead. Next week we come in my
crowd yeah, we need the elections and we'll beat the NDC hands down. And I but me on now or from no out. Servant leadership, only chief foot soldier, no servant going down to the people. And any position, I'm hoping. And then next week, remember showing us no church Ghana for my part about me and your man, your manifesto, your mom.
NPP for a chairperson or DC. And Nani Abre no one and say, oh, come manifesto lunch. No, to no answer a crop who they are positive and whole president. Then they say they are leading the elections. NDC also thinks they are also leading the elections. But we have a Mamina Munama joining here. I may just you may dear bro. But Mr. Sai, machines now can drip project will be similar. Our machines will hotel. Also, come machines will hotel. I beg to differ. Ghana has no time to entertain such mediocrity. You had full 8 years, and what now? The flat rate of taxes. And I said, yeah, and I said there be two parties. No, they are playing with Ghanaians. Over Stephen,
of our Mincha London for near Busia for Nina, I council, Mammy, why? Of Steven, no, every day be a Mr. Steven, you no. And now Benjamin, education system, no crack on and California creative until we feel we can say. Ghana form a person buying a page, you mama blame the education system. Education system, no, it is not training us to be creative on our own and create a jobs, no. Benjamin say a very salient point to pan opening a making, but also the panelists for public penalties for public water bodies pollution. So ye miemu so that any abusiafo no about opening and concern and eka say abusiafo na enwo ya asase afo no we should blame them. Na ye politicians no because almost so ka ho and asase ne koy ne Canada free you know say if is rather unfortunate say Ghanaians outside no they be almost so mun ko mun bibia in fact you know wa abroche no so nimbi nti enye ni nyina na omo ho no kwa be say omo tia nkrofote omo abroche nti they know it all nti ono so de no enough say agita but we say thank you so much for joining us and you may FM Vim Lady Afiapoka ye the bro just no live on OKFM from Shippers Abeka Junction here the bro live on High Life Radio DC National Radio UK Kings Jersey Radio New Jersey abrochi memona Adafupa Media and other media platforms. Amigacho FM so pick live. I will cook into me. Blessed on your new team. Thank you so much. Good night, Abusia for saying when you're much and not the discussions. And when you next week, get another edition and a baby. So very good show. And a day baby. Stay tuned now, money and because any abrace this year, dear. So the elections in Bekoina. Moment like a month will be able to tell you who is leading. Good night.